and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Tony and Julie on the radio. Dr. Joe's therapy on the radio. The love doctor going live on the radio. Two mics and the mind on the radio. Radio, turned up on the radio. Turned up on the radio, turned up on the radio, turned up on the radio. Two mics and the mind. Two mics and the mind. Two mics and the mind. Two mics.
Watch this.
And the mind. Yo.
Hello, welcome to
Welcome. Everybody, come on in. Oh, yeah.
How are you guys?
He's on the phone. We got you.
Listen, I'm doing good. I'm feeling good. I'm looking good. And I'm glad I was able to inspire everybody to wear their glasses today. I appreciate y'all. In the chat, everybody who got their glasses on. That's right. We're wearing glasses this week. This right here. This is a Glassy Thursday. That's what we're doing. A celebration of the glassy people who need glasses. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's what we're doing. We got the 4-eyed Thursdays.
Where are you? You're in New York? Where are you right now? What's that background?
I'm at a disclosed location.
Okay.
Is it undisclosed location or is it disclosed? How they say, which one is it?
Undisclosed.
Yeah. I'm in an undisclosed location right now. We getting it down and we getting it on. You know what I mean? But I just want to send a special shout out to all the 4-eyed people with glasses and braces who write with their left hand. You matter too. You are somebody.
I know. Speaking of lefties, two of my grandsons are left-handed, and neither are their parents.
Oh, really?
Somebody in your family left-handed?
Both my grandsons.
But like from generation, maybe your parents.
Nope, I don't have. I have a cousin. My mother.
Hold on. You can break them though. You can still break. You can break that habit.
Why would you want to break that habit? You know, like lefty people, a certain part of the brain.
I didn't say that
works for them.
That's not like sucking your thumb.
Wait, hold on, Dr. Joe. You say this again about the brain. Go ahead. What'd you say?
They actually say, don't quote me on this, but they actually say.
Don't even say it then, because I'm quoting you on.
Wait, studies say the lefty hand people are a little bit smarter than righty hands.
You know what?
I bet the person who did that study was left-handed.
No, because part of the brain they make part of the brain work that the righty person doesn't. They're more creative, they say.
Believe it or not, the smarter people are actually called ambidextrous. Those are people who know how to use their left and their right hand.
I know how to use both hands.
Yeah, I can use both of my hands. So I was saying, if your child is left-handed, you can teach them to become ambidextrous.
You can never perfect it.
Yeah. They could. It's not like they have to. They can't. I don't think they can write with their right hand, but it just happened. We tried. But
that's wonderful. That's talented. What I would tell you to do is baseball. Me being a life coach is a cure. Baseball is a cure. What people don't know is that baseball is one of the few sports that actually requires you to be ambidextrous.
Yes, it does.
So you can definitely teach them baseball, and they'll learn how to begin to incorporate both of their hands. The other thing with people who don't know, since I played for a year and should have been a professional. You know what I mean? But they want me to play on the Shabbat, so I had to take a stand.
Oh, okay.
But never misunderstand that I took a stand. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, what you want to do is you want to take those kids, and if they're naturally left-handed, then a left-hander, when they throw the baseball, it naturally curves. So oftentimes, a lot of people who are left-handed, there are pitchers in baseball because they have natural curves and their ball can curve a lot more. That's the advantage of being left-handed. There it is.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you. I love baseball, but I can use my left hand. I can use my left hand a lot, actually.
Listen, and speaking of left-handed, there's one more other person who we left out.
Huh?
And that's Ian and Jordan. I want to say hello to Ian and Jordan.
They're always watching.
Hey, Jordan.
Yeah, hey Jordan, hey Ian. I want to say what's up to y'all. I see y'all in the comment section. Ian said I watch all the time. I'm gonna leave a note in the comment section. He just did
He just said it to you at love. Dr. N said he is present. Oh,
because he said I watch all the time. I want you to
Yes,
say
he
my
does.
name, and I'm like, well, how I know that? I don't know it when you watching unless you put it in the comment. He's like, okay,
you didn't have to say all that, love doctor.
no, that's right. I like Ian, and the reason I like Ian is because the opposite is out.
Wow. Ian, this is the person you're
Not exactly. I mean,
just saying.
my
How y'all week been? Talk to me, ladies.
It's been
week was actually, yeah, I ran out of hours this week. On every day, I ran out of time for some reason. I don't know, but my day, I ran out every day, every day, every day.
insane.
What do
Hey,
you mean when you say you ran out of time? What do you mean?
there were a lot of things that I needed to do, but I didn't say. I mean, I didn't have enough time. I had to cut it off, or I was rushed, or I had to stop, and I had to do something else. It was just, I just felt that way all week. Things
So
were
is the way of rewording
Man,
that is you did not accomplish everything you set out in that particular day?
no, I didn't say that. I did it. I just had to cut off some stuff. I did it. Like if
What
I
did
had
you cut off?
like okay, I grilled one day, right? So I was grilling.
Oh,
Then
and you grilled good too. Listen, that's best griller right there.
then all of a sudden, thank you. All of a sudden, I had to stop. I had to cook the last of the meat. Then I had to do it again today because I didn't finish yesterday. It was raining, and I was doing it in the rain, and I had to stop because I had service. So I stopped. Then I came back today, and I said, okay, let me get home and do it again. So I did it to finish, and I had to stop because I had to go to a meeting, but I did get it finished though. So as I said, I just ran out of.
I understand you. It was the same. It's always the same thing for me though.
What you run out of time cooking?
No, in general, like things in general.
What you run out of time doing?
You know, I create a daily schedule, and I try to accomplish everything I put in my daily schedule. But sometimes it just doesn't happen. But I'm okay with that as long as I accomplish most of the things. Somebody said they have your glasses, Tuli.
Oh, her too.
Oh, and
Oh,
Alma know me and her just fell out. She ain't said nothing about my glasses. I seen that. I said, oh, I was on side.
Alma, you should have said something about
screen protector.
Rod's glasses.
You know I'm jealous.
Very.
Wow.
Yes,
Yes.
I know I'm jealous.
So what about you, Wayno?
So time management, me being a life coach,
Oh, man.
what I would tell people in terms of time management, what you want to do is you want to figure out what is the most important thing that you want to get done that day, and rank that as prioritized and doing that first, and so forth and second, third, fourth, and fifth. So the things that are most important, make sure you do that at the beginning of the day versus the end of the day. So what I tell people, what's the most important? Like here's an example. One of my clients, they say, hey, they really need to exercise and they really need to stretch, but they just don't have time. You know,
Yes.
they're working all day and they're running around the areas when they get time all night. They're too tired, so they don't have the time to exercise. They don't have the time to stretch.
Yeah.
So my recommendation is say, hey, well, when you get up in the morning, guess what the first thing you're doing? You're gonna do your stretches, you're gonna do your exercise before you start your day. And that's how you start getting the most important thing. You incorporate, you prioritize that at the beginning of your day. And that's life hacking skills, life coaching
Good
skills. This is what I
job,
do.
Love Doctor.
Y'all
Look
set
at that.
appointment. Y'all holler at your boy. Hit the cash app. Ain't that right, Tula?
Yeah, but yeah, okay, yeah, all right, yep, all right. If I did that, I couldn't do anything else. Like,
Yeah, and then Tuli, like, you know, he doesn't realize, like, us women, we actually multitaskers. We actually could be cooking, writing, typing, and
Why did you just turn this into a gender dispute? There was nothing
because
genderish I said.
you would not be able to understand it. But you
Is there
guys
echo?
focus on one thing. That's amazing. For me, it's like I gotta be doing many things at the same time.
What are you doing? What are you doing so much that's abnormal than from the regular person?
I mean, unless I didn't say abnormal, I just said, usually females do that.
I
They
want to
usually
understand because I think it's important. You can educate me on something because I'm not a female. So what is it that I'm missing that you say I would not understand about multitasking of a female?
like I said, for example, sometimes we're cooking while we're working, or we're cleaning at the same time. We're able to multitask. As a matter, I'm not a mother, but I'm pretty sure when you're a mother, you have to be able to multitask. Something is kind of like a natural skill.
So you brought female into it. What I'm trying to figure out the gender aspect, because one thing you said is that you cook, you work.
Mother was the perfect gender explanation.
No, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. You said I wouldn't understand with you, because what I'm getting is time management is not a gender based skill set. Time management is effective whether you're male or female. You should learn how to manage your time, but you're putting a gender onto it. So I'm trying to figure out where am I missing.
I wasn't talking about.
You're missing it because he don't understand the life of a woman and a man is different. The responsibility of a woman is different than a man. But it has everything to do with it. She said,
so what she just said, I do the same thing. I got to cook.
Nothing should keep us apart. That's it. We let that keep us apart. Nothing keep us apart. Now go ahead. Yeah, it is definitely when it comes down to time management, what a woman has to do. Just like jumping up and getting ready in the morning. A woman can't just jump up and get ready in the morning. A man can. A woman has to clean herself. She has personal hygiene things she has to do. A man can just jump up from a bathroom last night and go, or no bath, and go. A woman can't do that. She'll sin. Yes. So that's the difference. We'll try to educate. What we want to try to do tonight too as well is how can we educate people on there is sexism when it comes down to time management because of the obligation of a woman is different. Even when you read it from the writings perspective, for the man, he was given to dominate. The woman was given to serve the man.
No.
The man was given to serve Elohim. So when it comes down to time management, it makes a difference. Even when it comes down to a woman, it says that a woman can serve Elohim better singly than she can with a husband because of her responsibility. She has to get herself holy to her husband. A woman, when she makes a vow, her vow can be canceled regardless of what commitment she wants to make to Yahuwah. It is because of the responsibility she has because she's not obligated on the husband. You need to learn these things because you're in line to getting married. There is definitely a difference when it comes down to a woman time management and a man time management. Because for her, things are based upon her salvation.
Mm.
A man being sloppy nasty has nothing to do with his salvation. A woman has to know how to keep her home, guide her house. These are salvational issues. When you deal with a man, that's not a man being sloppy nasty. It's just a sloppy nasty man. It has nothing to do with his salvation. It's a character flaw. So you definitely want to know the difference between a married woman, a single woman, a single man, a married woman, a married man. If that helps out, what about our listeners? Now, let me say all my sideline hustlers over here. You want y'all hustle? Oh, yeah. We're going to hit that cash up. Go on and tell her because somebody feeling sad. We're going to put that cash up. Come on, we can put it in a while, Wayne. I feel bad about when I see that, Dwayne. What I should do? What I'm going to do? I feel so, why that?
Y'all got to hit the cash out. That's what y'all got to do.
But what if I'm at home crying right now when I see it? What if I see it on film?
You can't let the money get you down.
Don't let the money get you down. Ananias and his wife, they had a plan to keep back some money from the land. But what they didn't know, they could lie to the Holy Ghost, and they let a little money get them down. And I'm begging you, don't let a little money get you down. Don't let it get you down. Don't we let you down. Please don't turn around. Don't let a little money get you down.
That was a good word right there. I appreciate that word.
Man, we ain't heard that in a long time, man. Don't y'all listen. And you know what? And we ain't gonna, Joe, don't you let a little turd get you down.
Oh my.
Don't do it.
How many people on the sideline? Come on here. We need some amen. Where my amen corner before I put it out here?
I know that right. Look, all I say that song is hidden. Look at it. She said that song hidden.
Tell Resident Joe, we need that turd. We paid for a nice little inch turd, and she posted and dropped it and left it in there. Why is we being defrauded out our Isha Beach little turd? Your husband need to see that turd. We need to see him get up and run.
I can't do
I
it.
once was lost, but now I was blind.
Somebody said no.
I said no. He said no. Don't let no money get you down. We need that turd though. We don't need number one.
I think Isaiah is in the title. No turd. Look.
Come on, y'all. Y'all know she need to do it. Come on, now.
Alma likes that. Alma says she doesn't care.
Can we talk about it, Dr. Joe? Can we talk about it though?
Yeah, I almost said fact. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, woman, I know. I never see woman. I should have brought a Honda, but I got a Toyota. My. See that? You need to come on here. I'm trying to say that thing.
Isaiah said no turd.
He said he trying to tell Alma that we gonna get him now. We gonna get him.
Come on now.
Sometimes it take a little time for folk to come on. Come on, Dr. Joe. We done paid for it. That man could get. The man ain't got a good pool or nothing. What is going on? How's y'all marriage staying together? I seen two today. You know what I did? You know what I did today when I seen her today? Do you know what I did today when I seen Tula?
What did you
Tell
do?
us.
I pooed it.
That's good for you.
I didn't feel condemned. That what you mean for a male? Now you sexist now. And when it's trying to poop, everybody equal opportunity. A poot is a poot. Poot don't know.
It's natural for a man to be just like that.
Oh no, you finna call me something. What you finna say?
No, I think it's natural for a man to be just like that. Like, don't care. Like, just.
Reverend Joe, let's talk about it. Let's
Let's
talk about it. So, what you like run or when your husband not around? Is that when you?
That's the
No, it's natural.
I mean, it gotta be. So where you going from?
Yeah, they shouldn't be running. The man need to know.
I mean,
see that she said she look at that Alma told Isaiah. That way they
Isaiah's with me. Isaiah does not like those things.
That's right. She knows she don't want to find out later. If it's a shoot in the poot, she need to know now.
That's right.
All poots need to come clean now.
You know what? Tony, tell us about Tony say you a bunch of germs pop up if you get up and look at your tooth or whatever. What you gonna explain that to the people?
No. When you
explain that. No, let me put you on the big screen.
Who you ask? Oh, you asked Tula.
No, we asking you because that was your
No, well, I was saying I know a lot of people like to look, and if you have an ailments, it's not bad to look at it. And I'm sure that because you want to see exactly kind of what you're pushing out, what you should be weary if your stool is loose. There should be some solids. If you are when you defecate, you find yourself straining. These are issues. You need to look at whether your water intake, what you're eating. There are some things, that I would definitely want people to be surprised. I'm looking at her about surprises, but we definitely want to make sure, although we have fun, make sure that you are aware of what's leaving from your body. A lot of that goes with what you're putting in your body. Making sure you're taking enough water intake is very important too. So, but when you flush the toilet, what I typically do, I just tell by me, so I don't have to use no air freshener. When it comes out, I got a whirlwind going already because you don't want to let it. When it hit that water, go bloop bloop, and that when I turn that thing, go there, and it bang hit about that thing hit around that turd like that, and you get that streak in there, and that thing won't go when you flush it. And you just see and it look like somebody took a butter knife. They used to years ago. They used to put that frosting on their cake. Don't do that. Look at listen. When you drop, is he gonna see it scrubbing around the tub, or he gonna find it just laying in the water?
Preacher, I learned from you that when you use that restroom, you just flush right away. You don't wait.
But leave him one just so he'll know what he got. Let me ask you this: have you smelled him go to the restroom?
Yeah.
Oh, see, y'all still together.
But he don't care. I be wanting to throw up.
So you know his mess. You know the mess, though, right?
I know his mess.
See what I'm saying? He needs to know your man. Y'all need to know each other, man. Like Tula.
By accident, though, I wanted to check that everything was fine in the bathroom. So by accident, I was like,
catch it. See, catch and shoot. That's right. So you catch it, drop it out like Reggie Miller used to do. Wow. We did that in the clean. That's right. You better not let that thing marinate and gotta tell. That's why I know. Listen, in jail you can't do it. Listen, You gotta have a listen. You gotta make a turn. You gotta all that hit the bloop and flush.
Are you going properly though? Are you going the proper way?
Which
What
way
do
you
you
going
mean?
properly?
So this is the proper posture. Do you have a proper posture? Because a lot of people don't have a proper posture.
Man, look here, man. I can shoot this thing from a while. Listen, man, listen.
Are
I
your
can shoot
feet
it from the
elevated?
three. Them tell you I can shoot it from the 3. I can shoot it from under the butt, under the basket. Listen, man, no basket. I done shot it. I'm telling you, I can shoot this thing anywhere. Listen,
Do you elevate your feet?
What?
Do you elevate your feet?
You got that little stool coming, you sit down, your feet won't touch the ground.
Listen, man, that's life changing. All right, people who don't know what he's talking about, for the stool that he's talking about, here's an example of the stool right here.
Thank you.
Your feet need to be elevated. Listen, your life, this right here will change your life, okay? That particular right there. Listen, let me tell you something. It just come out in one push. Like how you talking about you got to go flush,
You shouldn't have
this
to
right here,
push.
one push, and it
So to tell the man he shouldn't be pushing.
That's all it
It
is.
should be a natural. I don't have to push. I can roll. Roll them, roll them, roll them. Keep them, turn them, rolling, do turn. No, man, you should be.
Can we say about something else?
Yeah,
Let's move on to the next subject.
that's definitely supposed to be the net. This is actually the better way for a woman to have a child.
Absolutely. Help y'all.
That's what I've heard. That is the best way to have a child
And
squatting.
you don't listen. You heard it, but you don't listen. We don't start listening.
Yeah, it's not natural to lay down and have a baby. That's why
word.
I'm out of stress. It's actually better up. I'm gonna like you on the stool.
Yeah.
It helps the baby come out easy.
Yeah. And we tell you this because we care.
Look at elephants, look at rhinoceros, any standing walking animal. You see when they drop it out, it's easy to drop out from up. They don't lay on the ground and drop it out.
Mm-mm.
They tell me why they're standing walking. She said she want to hear my opinion. What happened? What I came in. Bill said, what I can't. Bill, I don't know what happened. Listen, Resident Joe, we talking about our money, man. She gonna have to come on up, man. She gonna have to listen, turn it up.
I have something coming up next week, but not a turd.
You done pulled it? You can.
We don't.
Let the man.
Illuminati.
I got to.
Illuminati say, see if I can open that link.
Do it.
He got a link.
What link are you referring to?
He probably thought he sent it, but he didn't. We don't see the link.
He's trying to send a link that he said
came up with the laying down having babies. Yeah, they gave us that. See, when we was in Mizraim, they used to sit on a stool. That's the easy way for a woman to actually have a baby. They set her up versus laying her down.
Well, that means you know who knows that kind of stuff about how to deliver babies?
You.
Doulas.
And you're gonna be a doula when I give birth.
Yep, I know a doula.
Whoa, hold on. What did you just hold on? What did the conversation went? Wow.
What?
You heard what she just told you, Tully?
What?
She knows. I've said that to her before.
Yeah. But I'm not. I'm gonna bring a doula with me.
That's one of them drive-by babies. She said the nephew was born in the car. We know somebody, old project, Kerry. He was born in the car.
It's a story of a 15-year-old pulling a gun. Oh, he died.
No, hold on, pulling a gun.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm setting it up there. We can see it.
Let me see, 15-year-old.
Good to see all of y'all over there tonight. All our wonderful supporters over there. Not you, joke. I'm talking about it. Man, nobody want to see you.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna make you retract that statement. Did you say nobody? Did you say nobody?
No, I said self-astonishing. Once you get them glasses, she leave you.
Okay, he changed that, so that's not a nobody then. You know, it's somebody want to see you now. Don't say nobody, not all. I said
except.
Okay.
How about one person want to see you? How about that? Is that more accurate?
No. She just
no.
You know what? Let's talk about this 15-year-old boy with pull a gun.
I'm trying to figure out where was it? Let me see. They asked the question, how do you handle it? Can you give us a little bit more? Is that Nana on here? Can you give us a little bit more?
Oh, Nana's on there?
I just talked to Nana. Yeah, that's my Nana. I just made him just finna have a meeting.
Can you?
He's walking with the Lions. Walking with the Lions.
Oh my gosh! Can you give us a little bit more information, like what city or state?
You talking to me?
Naughty.
Wait, say that. Say Worminati's not here. You got to say his name now.
No,
I'm
doctor.
like,
I said that several times. I said that several times.
The woman not can
The
you
link is not showing where I didn't know.
Nope.
So I see one that says 2 teens charged with first-degree murder near the north side of Chicago.
Tell us the title of the article, Womanati.
For nothing.
Worminati, I want you to call in and tell us how you got the name Worminati.
That's interesting.
Like, you like
know,
fishing? Because people who fish be having all the worms, man. And a natty, is that like the yeah? I don't know what that means. So yeah.
He said okay, hold.
No. Why you
Doc.
Oh gosh. Woo, child. Tony, how was your week? While we waiting.
Man,
I like your glasses too.
I just found out our daughter won a volleyball match, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Good job.
Yeah.
Working hard.
This is a winning match. And, this is Boston's adopted daughter. This is me and Smitty's daughter. We are.
You didn't have to say his name.
We don't say his name, so his name don't count.
Nope.
So you just show her this. She won the game winner, and show her doing the game winning shot. I'm sending it over now. My phone is loading.
Wow, yeah, send that. I want to play that.
Yeah.
Wow, she's been working hard. I heard.
Wow, the game. Yeah, I seen her practice video.
Yeah.
Wow.
That there's so much going on today in the new era. Y'all seen that Texas fire? That has been a mess.
What
I saw it, and the Indians were still driving through it, filming it.
I mean, people don't have a lot of sense. He said, "Okay, I used to rebound." He said, I used to rebound like Rodman Worm for an undersized forward. Also, DJ a hit. DJ clue name is Cluminati. My boy put it together. Okay, Worminati. Oh, Worminati. We were saying Worminati. Okay, Worminati. Okay. Because okay, tell you how. Because he's a DJ. Cluminati. So he put it, so he would like the worm. He could rebound like the worm.
Okay.
Somebody DJ. Cluminati.
Oh,
they put it together.
Thanks,
Worminati.
I appreciate that.
Worminati. Okay. I thought we've been saying Worminati.
You have
Worminati. Well, that's I'm looking at it now. You know how your eyes are deceptive sometimes. You typically will assume something without actually. A lot of us don't always read things because your mind picks it up and assume what it saw or what it's saying. Sometimes without actually being clear in it. So I got your Worminati. I got you.
That's true. I remember I had seen a book of them optical illusions, and what you think you see is totally different.
Yeah, like when you look in the mirror. Toot, I sent you a video to play too. Before we try, baby.
That was nice. That was a nice serve.
You said, okay, they're gonna put it up now. They're supposed to put it up.
gotta play it, or you need me to do that?
You gonna play that?
I'm trying to get it and upload it from my phone. So give me about a minute or two.
Well, Tula, can't you play the one we have for Dwayne?
Oh, gotcha. Hold on.
While we waiting on that one to get loaded up, Dwayne, we got one playing.
Y'all got it. This is a cheap setup for a joke. I can tell already. Go ahead.
We won't do that.
Oh, tomorrow, y'all.
It's so negative.
Send the link for Confederate. He just texted me. He said he wanted the link. I talked to him earlier. He said up in Phoenix. He said they got fires burning in Phoenix.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, he's up in the high country. It's burning there as well. Yeah, he said, can you send the link?
I sure shall.
And Nana, good to have you tune in. It's late over there what Nana is. Appreciate having you in Nana drop in.
Yeah, man, I like them pictures of you with the lions and stuff.
I know. How did you do it? Were they sedated? Oh, yeah.
That's what I was thinking, Tuli. Like, do they sedate them? Like, they're so calm.
Yeah,
I sent y'all the video with them walking.
No, Tuli, they weren't dating. They were actually married.
Okay, here we go. First of all, that was a mother and a son. That was not that man. That been insane. You can clearly see the male and the female.
Oh, you saw.
So abnormal.
Lame.
That's right, true. I got the more video. Which one y'all? Y'all gonna play that up now?
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all want to do the intro to it?
Go ahead.
The star volleyball player. This is a time of more people all over the world is going to see you now.
Excuse me.
Here we go.
Your time. Man, too bad that's serving.
Yeah!
They couldn't get it. They couldn't get it.
That's it.
That was a nice serve.
And put it right over there in the drop spot on. That's what I'm talking about. Whoa, Jada. Hang on my move.
That's what I'm talking about. Those other girls are losers.
Nice.
Man, doing it with a skirt on. Looking out.
Go ahead.
That's right.
Go, girl.
All the rest got on booty shorts.
I know that's right.
That's right.
Look at her. Go ahead, Amor.
Good job.
Oh my
that was a
goodness.
nice
I'm
serve.
so proud of her. Oh my goodness. That was a great job, Amor, that was really great. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Rachel, we say hello to him and tell him much of heart to him.
Yes.
That's Rachel with that hair. I see that at liquor store and I rolled by. I seen a 42-year lady around now, just making sure. She old enough it wasn't her.
Oh, Nana said the wild.
Nana's in the chat room.
Okay. I'm saying on him.
You know, he on the video. He's waiting to get invited into the video. He's on video.
Who said that?
The Lions are
Nana,
wild.
he's in the video waiting area.
What are you saying?
His camera's turned off, but his icon is up there. His name is up there.
Okay, I got a video.
I got a video of him. She got a video. She got two.
Just 1 second. Tony, dismiss that. Hold on. Let me let it get to that whole. Okay, so play this whole thing. Oh, it's a minute. All right. Let me take the volume off.
Video of him. Yes.
Hold on. Let me get to here. And let me get to share. Presenter, share screen. Let me choose my screen. To share. Now my personal business. Share. Let's go.
This is Dwayne.
My name is Mr. Fraser. The doctor gave my wife glasses and she leave me.
That's Dwayne.
My wife and I were very happy. The only trouble is she oversexed. And quite frankly, she was killing me. Then bam, she get the glasses and all of a sudden it's all over. She gone. So now.
Dwayne.
I am seeking a new partner to come into my life. She can be as sexy as she wants. The only stipulation is definitely no glasses. Thank you very much, video dating.
That's Dwayne. Listen, soon as starts to get them glasses, she living.
Oh, that's what she doesn't want glasses? Oh, I'm
No,
sorry.
honey, I want some glasses. What's going on?
Okay, I'm sorry. All right. I'm sorry. Kept going. I'm sorry. You know, I'm new to this. Okay, anyway, welcome. Did you see we played the video, Mosky?
You did? Oh.
Yeah, we did play the video.
Hey, listen,
Yes.
man. I done fussed out referees today. I can't go to more games. I'm banned from games.
That's bad.
I told the ref he blind, he can't see. It's not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I had to take a community coaching class before I started coaching, and they tell you what parents shouldn't do. And guess what I do? Get over here. Come on. Get your behind over here. Let me tell you about these parents. Come here. So,
Hey, y'all.
Hey!
How we doing, Keaton? All right.
So first of all, she giving me rules. Don't call them one name. Don't do this. Don't do that. I said, okay, fine. I'm sitting back. As soon as the one go court, oh, Ma!
I couldn't help it.
I know. And y'all just the aunt and uncle.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah.
I couldn't help
Think
it.
we
I'm
would've-
so proud.
Think we would have been now.
I know exactly.
Man, I don't know what kind of system this is. She don't practice Monday, Tuesday preacher, Wednesday she don't practice. And she playing the game. I said, that's crazy. I didn't know.
Hey, that's I did it. You talking about practice? What practice? Let me get straight. We talking about practice.
Practice.
We talking about practice. She didn't need practice. She won the game for him.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
She'd have came to practice. She'd have
That's
messed
it.
up.
Natural.
That's it. That's what
Okay,
doing.
the whole game.
Yeah.
That's all right. We definitely
Man,
glad.
that is really good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
I gotta
my
put that
goodness,
out there. I
man.
gotta put that on my social media. Let them see her do her thing. That's all right.
Yeah.
Confederate, how you doing? He said he wouldn't be long. He wanted to speak. I know he had
Oh,
3 more days on the knowledge and white. Now, how we doing, Confederate? Good to see you, man. Great to see you.
What's going on?
Good to see you. Can y'all hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Well, you know, my common salutation. I want to greet the panel. Starting from my left to you guys is right. Honorable Wolf Charles Bossett, to the Commissioner, Dr. Miss Tooley, to Dr. Jones, to the Honorable Tony Smith, the last but not least,
Appreciate it.
to the love doctor, the one and only. This is your neighbor, Confederate State 48, saying hit that like button, hit that share, hit that subscription, hit that like, and hit the cash out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Just glad to be here tonight.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
That's all right. Good to see you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hey, Ron, I wanted to say this to you. I just don't know how you improv the way you do.
What happened? No problem.
I was looking at the lesson on Shabbat about the gentleman who wrote the letter, and then you kind of responded to the letter, and then Chris was reading Dabarim Hayim 24, and he was talking about your ass, and, and you kind of was like, you know, you improv. It was hilarious.
Yeah. I want to know who we were talking about. Yeah, I'm gonna get that cleared up quick.
I think.
Listen, I appreciate. I get well. The Most High, He gives me a gift to be able to do what I do. I appreciate Him.
Yeah, it's definitely a gift.
I definitely appreciate Him. How you been coming along?
Yeah. Also, too, I just it's been a little challenging, but as long as it's in the scripture was real, I'm fine with it. Just trying to navigate, properly, and trying to stay, on the path of just letting people know that, trying to stay within His will, not so much as being His, being His enemy by not doing things according to His will. Talking about Yahuwah, not all the other names they got out there. That's the one that I choose. But my wife, she went to the doctor. They prescribed some medications that seem questionable, but we questioning Yahuwah that she getting the outcome that she's seeking. Outside of that, just kind of watching everything unravel and unfold as this world just continues to collapse, with all the natural disasters, as they would call them, the fires here in Arizona, the one in Texas, just the judicial system, all kind of different things that, that we facing as a society, and just knowing the people who are centered, for the center of our I can't complain. If I did, if I complain, it would be something like you would say, you got to stop all that mumbling and grumbling. I'm still in the process of paying restitution. I've done a lot of bad in my life, so I'm just trying to pay restitution, break even, and make it to the mouthpiece. I can't speak for everybody else, but I'm making the main thing. So.
You know, that's something that a lot of people don't come to grips with. You know, decisions we make in our life that we feel like, you know, we pretty much felt like we've gotten past or felt like we've gotten over. One thing life teaches us, you know, it doesn't matter about the time. You always come back and things have to be reconciled. It's kind of like sometimes with your books when you're going to do your taxes. You've been going through the year and been doing things. And when it comes to sit down, you know, to do your tax, you realize it's time to sit down and reconcile those books. You realize, okay, now I got to find out what I owe. It's got to be paid one way or other. You find out whether or not, you know, there's a plus. And we had this opportunity while we're on this side right now. That's what we're doing. We're trying to reconcile things that we've done before we get out of here. Sometimes people, when they're going through things, they don't consider how much they've actually done. Sometimes people say, well, I changed. I'm a different person. You can be a different person, but because of how life is, you have to come at things have to be reconciled. That's just being honest. It got to be reconciled. It's got to be paid for. You know, we've done things, we've taken things, we misused things, we misappropriated things. There are a lot of things we've done. You have to come back and pay for it. And the thing about it, it matures you in life. You know, when you come to that understanding, you start realizing decisions I make are decisions I will have to pay for later. So it allows you the opportunity to really consider, I could take that road or take that route, but I got to pay for it later. So now looking at them still, being requited for things I've done, it really makes you a lot wiser about things, and you look at things a lot differently. But a young man wouldn't consider that. A young man, feel like his strength, he can keep going. You know, an older man, he said, I can see where the wisdom comes in at. Because, definitely where I'm at now, my day, I got more days behind me than I have in front of me. So I definitely consider with the time in front of me, when the writers tell us about redeeming the time, getting the full value out of it, I didn't. I wasted the time. And now you're at a point where you can't come back and respect those things. So all I can do now is do better from this point forward, in the midst of still reconciling, if that makes sense. I know you understand it, but some people, it's all about where you're at in life and what you're trying to do. What about the rest of y'all over there? Hello.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
I mean, these things got to be reconciled.
Real quick, panel. Do y'all remember this Schoolhouse Rock? I think it's Schoolhouse Rock. One of these kids are doing their own thing. One of these kids are one and the same. Y'all remember that?
Yes,
What happened?
You used to sing that.
Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
What was it?
So, as everybody tonight look at the panel, right? There is one individual that stands out.
What was it? Now, I'm trying to remember what were you saying about it. Which part of it?
Sing that.
What song?
It'll be the gentleman that's in the one of these kids. One of these kids is doing his own thing. One of these kids is one of the things.
Oh, it's one of these things do not belong here.
I'm poking this song, Bob. He's the only one that don't have on eye apparatus.
Yeah. What you doing, Boston?
Hey, man, I the most I still getting my help and strength in my eyes, so I'm gonna hold on while I can.
Listen, you hold on to him, but I tell you what, man.
Let's
start fading. Listen, I try to water when I can.
Right,
I have to read it, Time to do it to you, man. I remember the time I was like, I hate them at times, but there are times come in, you look at, you have to have them. You just realize, it just happens. It's a part of life, and it's one of those things where you look at, hey, it's adjustments we make in life. Yeah. Sometimes you don't see things as clearly. You have to realize there are things you have to use to kind of help to, kind of bring it in and get you a better projection of what it is you're trying to do. And you learn to look at it as things that you hadn't really, you don't look at over time how things diminish. Your strength, your health, your speed, your hair, your teeth, and then, these things come in to teach you that you're diminishing. Right. You know what I'm saying? When, you can understand us decrease, what I'm saying? Why he increase. I mean, you can see that like me, I'm decreasing the more because he's getting ready to come back. So now my glory has to fade, that his glory can be increased. So I'm starting to really get a handle on how things work. That's when you can realize he was in the fullness of glory. He realized though, but in order for him to get his in fullness, I have to decrease. And that's something that we learn now, that we're having to decrease because he getting ready to increase. With all of this is coming in today, I don't know how serious people are really looking at, all the fire. I just posted something too when we was talking. I'm a multitasker. I don't know to tell people about that. It's hard for me to do that thing. But I just posted something on Twitter about how they were just coming about the RSV. People who've been taking that shot, they're becoming ill now. They're investigating a rare nervous system disorder in older adults who got the RSV vaccine. They're investigating now. A lot of people are coming back, with this COVID shot. And remember some time earlier, you couldn't say COVID shot. YouTube shut you down, Twitter would ban you. Now they're leaving it because I tried to warn and several other people. I won't act like I'm the only person. It didn't make sense. It still doesn't make sense. And these people, LeBron James' son falling out, heard nothing else about it. All these people falling out. You can't think that's the end of it. A lot of people are mysteriously coming up dead. I'm telling you something else that they're telling people. Y'all do know that they're giving people blood transfusion for people that took that shot.
That's the beginning.
They can't discriminate. They're just, if you go and get a blood transfusion, they cannot tell you whether or not it has the person that donated has taken the vaccine.
Oh, okay.
So we're really at a state that you can brag about, I didn't take the vaccine, but if you go and got a blood transfusion, you very well have gotten it. So one way or another, we paying for it. That itchy scratchy is nasty. Icky sticky is nasty. You can't convince me that causing the cancer uptick. They got so much stuff going on out here. It's bad. So many young people with cancer, real aggressive too. Listen, and it's reasonable, huh? Oh yeah, icky stick. I don't know. We got to figure that one out, but I know it's got to be something.
That is.
What is the icky sticky? I heard of icky stick, but I'm not sure about what he referred to.
I'm trying to find your Twitter page, but it's not showing your recent post.
Yeah, you probably on something. Oh, I posted a more.
What is your Twitter page called?
The COVID shot.
Tony Smith.
Yeah, that's the one I see.
I'm looking at him. I see a more first, then I see what I just posted about investigating the rare nervous system.
See, this it right here, right?
It could be somebody else. No, I never posted that. So, I don't know what you following.
Yeah, that's it.
That's me. That's from like yesterday. That ain't nothing new. From like years ago. That's old.
That's old.
Hold on. It say Tony Smith.
Yeah, but that's old.
Yeah, that's an old post.
What's your new page?
Man, I'm telling
that's
you.
Please, I'm starting talking to that man.
No. I don't know what that is. He said arm ticket. He's talking about the Pope. Getting that arm ticket. Okay. He said shot with evil. He talking about that shot. It was, and a lot of people dying. A lot of people still dying. A lot of ailments. A lot of affliction fell on people behind that. It's sad. Our government is now you can talk about Russia, China, but a lot of things that they're doing here in America. As bad as communism is portrayed to be, and it actually is here. The controlling of what you read and what you do, like they let homosexuals come in your school and read books and other things. The same thing they blame Hitler for. They're doing control books. They're doing the same thing here. They control what you read, what they'll let go. Look at the guy Tucker Carlson, who went to interview. He went and interviewed Putin. I told the people before, I knew he was done. They've already stopped an assassination attempt. Ukrainian wanted to assassinate. He's also going to be arrested.
Oh.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson for that interview with Putin.
Wow.
Who's going to arrest him?
That's
the United States going to arrest him. What do you mean? You can't listen. Once they demonize a person, you can't give these people a clear audience or a clear platform to speak. People don't realize. Listen, this is a socialist, communist, quote unquote republic. People don't understand. This country works from so many different angles. They're a republic when they want to use the law. They're democracy when they want to use mob rule. They're communists when they want to control what you read and what you do. They're socialists when they create programs. You can't run labor on these people. And people fall into the dogma, their dogma of believing that the system is one way. They can't function one way. They're attacking too many people. It's not just other governments, they're even attacking their own citizens. So sick people can't fight back. That's been proven. Sick people are weak. Sick people are what? People that need help, people that need money. That's why they keep you sick. They give you shows to keep you unconscious. People that watch me 3 times a week know I try to explain to people how to live. And in how to live, you have to pay attention when people show you things and tell you things, because there's always an agenda. And when you fall asleep, you don't get it. It's just like now, people are so unconscious. I'm sure y'all got familiar what's going on in Ukraine right now. Right now, Ukraine is losing the war. Russia is aggressively, they're aggressively starting to take over different provinces. Now, do you guys know why? I don't. It's all staged. It's a purpose. They are trying to get Ukraine to make a peace deal. They wouldn't make the deal as long as they're getting arms and they're fighting back. They have a fair fight. They have an opportunity at winning. So what America has done and Europe, they have set and they strategically cripple Ukraine from winning this war right now. Now, where Ukraine is run out of
Then the U.S. kind of back away.
Well, the U.S. had backed away. The Republicans have not agreed on a bill because they want a border bill. They want a border control bill first. So the Democrats can easily end this by go ahead and put border control in. The money goes to Ukraine. But both of these people have strategically set them up, because let me tell you why. It will cost America $3 billion a month to fund Ukraine. $3 million a month. $3 billion a month. This war can continue because you got to remember, Russia is being funded by China and by North Korea and by Iran. These are just 3. Not to mention, India is buying oil from them. India and China are the two largest populations in the world. Them alone makes up for Europe. So you got to understand this is strategic. By letting Ukraine lose, now Ukraine has to come back to the table and say, okay, let's end the war. Putin wants to end it. Ukraine said, no, we'll fight. We got American weapons. We got backing. They have crippled Europe. And Europe needs to be ready to fight China. They need to be ready to fight. This is the problem. They need to be prepared to fight Putin. Ukraine is hurting. They exhausted their weapons. They've the reserves. It's killed them on the food front. America needs to be ready to fight China. But if you let this war keep going, China, North Korea, and Iran is sitting back watching. And they know America has depleted a lot of their weapons. So right now, this is all strategic. People don't know anything about war, how these people work. America never does anything. You'll never catch them off. That's a lie. You will not beat them. They're much smarter. They need Ukraine to get crippled so he'll go to the negotiating table in the war. They need to be ready to fight China against Taiwan. This is what just came out today. You got Russia and China have just been exposed by the Australian Secret Service. They had an insider who's already gave them the intel on the new submarine, which I know you guys don't know because everybody watch all this other stuff. See what happened. France was going to build a submarine for Australia. So Australia sits at a key pivotal point for America against China. That submarine was going to be built by them. England and America came in and bumped them out and got Australia to let them build a submarine. China does not want a submarine. This submarine will get them intel. This is the newest, most advanced submarine. And the United States and England is going to build it so they can keep tracks on China. China doesn't want it. China infiltrated Australia's government and had an inside guy who's giving them all the plans to this submarine because everybody's trying to block everybody. See, when people watching the news, I teach my young people. My young people know this, and I teach y'all something, okay? When you're watching the news, they're telling you something, but they're not telling you something when they're telling you something. Now, if you can't pick up on them 3 points, you're being lost every time you watch the news. They're telling you something, but they're not telling you something when they are telling you something. you're missing a lot of key pivotal points. There's a lot going on right now, and these people are making a lot of progress. They're making a lot of aggressive moves, a lot of progressive moves. A lot of people, they're crippling people. A lot of people don't have any idea your government is making a fool out of you. Mm-hmm. People are the pawns. If the soldiers had a brain, they'll put the weapons down and stop fighting. Let the leaders fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But if you and I was mad and ain't want to fight right now, would you send your son to fight me? Mm-hmm. Would you send your daughter to fight me? Why would you when you and I having an argument? How are they calling these boys and girls their sons and daughters and they're sending them to fight for them? This is your fight. Mm-hmm. They're making a fool out of us, people, white and black. We're all fighting each other. We're all making a fool out of each other. All these people are killing us. These diseases, notice who's not dying from these diseases. These world leaders aren't dying from them. Nope. Their wives aren't dying from them. Their kids aren't dying. Who's dying from them? Our kids. How many Joe Biden kids died from the COVID shot? Mm-hmm. How many? What about Trump kids? Because they're not giving the same thing they're giving them. Quit being stupid, people. The athletes, Kelsey, everybody, that's why they let him win these Super Bowl. So now he being pushed with this girl, whoever this white girl he's dating, nobody ever heard of, who popped out in the greatest singer ever now. They put these people out here, Shania Twain, whatever her name is. They put these people out here in your face, and he put, look at that short commercial. Get vaxxed. Because people thinking that everybody wants to be notarized or noted with a winner. Yep. And these people are losers, and they're making a fool out of you.
I think the kid, if it was a draft, the kids can't get drafted too, right?
Who kids can't?
Like if it was a draft, the president's kids cannot be drafted because I think who that was had to come home because he wanted to fight.
Had to come home. Joe Biden said
George Bush.
That's what they said. They said he wanted to fight, but he couldn't because of his
George Bush. Yeah.
George Bush was in the war. He went in the war, but I mean, he was in the military. He was on drugs. I mean, but at the same time, I mean, the Kennedys went. I mean, one of the Kennedy boys was blown up and killed. Kennedy was injured, but his brother died. Then they set him up to be president. His brother was actually who his dad was trying to set up for president. I mean, that's here and there. One thing about it, these guys are not just going to be foot soldiers. Okay, these guys are going to be protected. You're going to give them that way they can have something to say as though they've actually done something. Which is a big step up for Trump to come in and make America. Let me tell people about Trump. And I tell people, do your homework, people. The whole system, Trump will 9 times out of 10 not get back in. They're actually blocking it. He doesn't have the support that people are actually thinking. I think Joe Biden beat him in Michigan when you do overall, and you have to remember something, and that's with Muslims, and which is predominant. I think you have more Muslims in Michigan than you have anywhere else.
Yeah, it's a lot.
They still outnumber Trump. Trump is bad for business. And I try to tell people, when you work at a job, you don't see business. People who run businesses and do business, I'm talking about on a major scale. Look at he's bad for business. You can't. If we're playing poker, how many we have right here? 7 of us. So if I'm playing with all 7 of us playing poker, we all have $100 a piece. What's the most I can win at this table?
$700. $600.
What if I'm on a roll?
$700.
What if I'm hot?
Mm-hmm.
What if I'm talking about everything's going? I'm talking about it's really popping for me. How much can I win?
600.
Same.
So this is how dumb he is. He cut your throat across the country. We need other people to come to the table. Mm-hmm. He hurts your money. You got to be able to do long term, but he messes up. You need Europe. You got to do business.
Wow.
See, the man is not a businessman. The man, let me tell you something. Look at everything Trump does, he gets sued for it. That's not good business. Your school was a failure. Every business he gets sued for it. Listen, when you lose a casino in the gambling capital, how bright can you be? He's not a good businessman. He sells a facade. He sells, he's a winner. He's not a winner. What does he want? You didn't build a border wall. This is on you. You had Listen, give any president a House and a Senate and see what he does. Any president, the House and the Senate. Do you understand that's a clear path to do what you want to do? This man walked into the White House with the Senate and the Congress, and this dummy completed absolutely nothing. Couldn't get Hillary Clinton locked up with his own attorney general. I mean, you got rid of the head of the FBI. So you put in another head for the FBI. You had your own attorney general, Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions, a ranking senator, came in, you brought in from Alabama, and you still couldn't get, he wouldn't even agree with you. Head of the Klan, Ku Klux Klan, the Grand Rizal, they wouldn't agree. He couldn't get no one to agree with him. Mitch McConnell is a failure. Long time, the longest serving ahead of the Senate, and he wouldn't even agree with Trump. The man's a failure. And the people here are look at these people. Redneck can't get a killer sentence out of their mouth. They always talking about something stupid or doing something stupid. Matt Gaetz is an idiot. This girl Green from Georgia, she's an idiot. Get an intelligent person that follows him. You can't find them. People do real business does not fool with Trump. The Koch brother who owned Georgia Pacific, all these people broke off from him. These are billionaires. Because they realize you're dumb. You say dumb stuff. You're bad for business. Cut throats. You got to do business with euros. You got to be able to do business with the military. That's the only way to increase the money. You got to bring people in. He's bad for business. Look at it. Listen. Every time he does something, we got people rowdy, want to fight, want to tell, want to burn. All we heard about when he was in town, listen, Antifa. It was more black shootings. Black Lives Matter. All he talking Black Lives Matter, Antifa. You have a protest, one in a car running people over at the protest. How many times they have him under Joe Biden? And no, I'm not a Joe Biden. He piss poor ignorant. But you still have to know how to, Joe Biden don't like black people, but he knows how to do better business than Trump. Joe Biden would never been in office if Trump did what he's supposed to do and learn how to do business and keep his mouth shut.
He knows the fundamentals of politics.
So what? Say it again.
I say he knows the fundamentals of politics because he's been in politics since the 70s, and he knows how to navigate and say the right words, for lobbyists to support him and all of that stuff. Trump goes against anybody that's not a part of his team. But I have a question, what do you think about the $399 sneakers? What do you think is going to become of that in terms of being sued? I'm pretty sure that he done something underhanded because I think he was just a ploy to pay off that $500 billion settlement that he had that the victims were awarded, and not only the victims, but when he for the bad business dealers in New York City.
Your phone kind of talking about what Trump did as far as with the overinflating his property.
I think my phone rebooted.
Yeah, it's not that clear, but I can't hear. Are you talking about the charge where they got him?
No, the sneakers.
Oh, by buying the sneakers? Talking about buying the shoe, the gold tennis shoes.
Right.
That just show you how unintelligent people are. Especially people of color. I mean, right. you look at your numbers, you look at how you live, and you look at how more susceptible you are to poverty. On top of stupidity, your schools are failing. And you could buy the shoes of a man and give a flying flip about you. I mean, that man is responsible for the Central Park 5. Him and his mouth behind these boys said and had to do time in prison because of his comments. Because I mean, this man.
They did a documentary follow up to that.
One of them now is a sitting. I think he's a representative in New York.
You might want to watch that documentary follow up on that Central Park 5 story.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of details came out that I wasn't aware. Like the boys had semen and all that stuff on them too. They found semen on the girl. It was like a lot of other details came out.
They found semen.
Yes, a lot. It's a lot more of the details.
That didn't come out. Listen, I'll say this: if they guilty, then he go to prison.
Who was the one? I mean, I don't want to give up the thing, but who was the producers of the film? Like, what was the angle it came from?
Give me one moment. I have to look up and see who the producer
I know
of the
one.
film
I
name
remember
is.
seeing a documentary. Let's say, remember, I did have to watch it. One of them. I mean, why they
No.
Oh, you did send it. You did
There's
send
two
the
of them.
video.
I think the one that you saw, because I saw the one along with you. That's by Ava DuVernay. But I'm talking about a one from a guy on YouTube. He just
It's a
put together the
documentary, correct? Yeah.
You know, and what
And
is
they
it?
actually had the boys' testimony. What the boys was actually before they
They-
got to the
They
police
admitted
station.
it.
Some of the boys had already started confessing to it.
But see, that was one of the problems because their parents wasn't there.
No. Listen, what I'm saying is there's a total like you know how they had the 911 documentary when they were showing that all the buildings. Then they had the Fahrenheit 911 where it showed holding up. There's a totally different perspective
Angle.
about it. Let me find it. I'll see if I can find it.
And put aside so everybody can watch. Now, let me say one more night. I'm not a fan of Joe Biden at all. Nor do I believe he has a brain in his head or a conscious brain. But what I was trying to tell me as far as the arousing of the violence here in America against one another. I mean, we have it on a daily basis, but with Trump, it was more. It was kind of more increased. He's an antagonizer, and when people antagonize people and have people fighting, this is how monies are stolen and moved. He came in and lied and told people that he was going to come in and he wasn't going to take a pay, and he took a pay. You know, he created jobs for him and his daughter, his son-in-law. You know, so Trump has a lot, and all of them dirty. You hadn't had one that's clean. You know, Obama and the rest of them. But it's about doing business and being able to get business done, the people's business. And unfortunately, our people don't support real candidates that will really stand up for that cause. Putting people in with integrity. We know how the system works, and ain't what we say. Oh, if anybody getting there with integrity, they're just gonna kill them. We know this, so why don't we protect them? This is the part I get angry with our people for. We know this, so why don't we protect them? Why don't we fight to say, like, look, they'll fight for Trump. New Yorker, truck drivers know. I mean, trucking, so many truckers have lost. I had a truck driver call me today. He lost everything he had. And he told me he's going to still believe in what he believes in. He said, well, you know, we all believe in the same God. We just call them different names. I said, and the answer is no. I don't agree with what you said. He said, oh, that's right. I know you believe what you believe. I'm going to stick with what I believe. He's lost everything. He has nothing. He lost everything. He was doing good. I said, you're going to still stay with what you believe? He said, yeah. I said, well, all right. I said, that's what you do. You stay with it. It's working for you. But you're calling me, telling me you're broke. You ain't got nothing. You lost everything. He said, man, I ain't even got nowhere to stay. But he still telling me about this pigmentation God he got from his parents, that he got from a slave master, that he'll still continue to believe in. Don't realize this plays a part to your problem, and you don't have a solution. And we have to start stop looking to them. And I say this, and I open it to anybody. The so-called Negro in America needs to create his own way. I'm 100% for it. We need to just create our own way. Whites, Hispanics, Indian. Everyone needs, listen, there shouldn't be one president. There should be a representative from every one of these races to bring up the cause. Listen, I'm not the person that will be the best proponent for everybody Hispanic, because I don't know the needs of everybody Hispanic. I'm not the best proponent for everyone that's white, nor am I the best proponent for everyone that's Haitian, because I don't know all your ethnic history, nor am I that familiar or a part of your custom. Each one of us races, each race has a different thing about themselves and their custom, and it needs to be addressed. You need something like in Afghanistan and every other place, people have tribes, and they always have a representative for their tribe to make sure the issues of their people are being addressed. I am the person. That's right, Mal. That's right. Making your own way. I have been a proponent for this. That's not racism. That's to make sure we have inclusion. Because if your race is being missed, the needs are not being met, someone needs to stand in to represent you to say, hey, I am of this ethnic culture, and our needs are being met or addressed. But when we leave it in the one white person hand who comes by and tinkle by and hand me a pack of fatback, he throw some Mexican, some tortillas, you know what I'm saying? He throws some Jamaican, some rice and peas. Then you're not really. This is a joke. You pushing rap music and breakdancing on me when that's not my problem. I don't need a white man to help me dance and sing. That's my culture. We got real needs and issues, and I get so upset with us because we always keep thinking it took a white person to get something done. I don't need a white person to do nothing for me. All I need a white person to do is be white and take care of your own people. I'll address my people. If my people wrong or something, I'll address them. I'll say we wrong. I don't need to be chastised by no white person. I don't need to be hugged, collared, hung, drugged, insulted, or prepped up by nobody white or any other race.
Oh no.
Play my own way. As humans, we should all have a care for each other, but there's no way for one person to know the needs and to make sure the need of every individual race is being addressed properly. So every race needs a representative. Yes, sir.
All right, I found it. It's called the Central Park 5, Guilty or Innocent. It's very, very interesting because it's a black guy who did it. If it's okay, I just want to play like the first minute of this black guy talking. But it's called Central Park 5, Guilty or Innocent. And he made this as a rebuttal to that movie called When They See Us.
In this video, I'll go over some of the 200,000 or so case files, including photos, videos, and even examine portions of the fictional Netflix series When They See Us. In the rather one-sided documentary, The Central Park 5. I've also combed through dozens of articles written from 1989 up until today. All of my source files will be posted in the description, here, wherever it is. I strongly urge that you take a look because I will show the media has gotten quite a bit wrong, and the stories have morphed over time as people have come to favor the Central Park 5's version of the story over law enforcement and the district attorneys. What I hope to show you are simply the facts that led up to the convictions and what happened afterward. While I have my opinions, I think the facts of the case do a lot to explain the reasoning behind what happened to the 5 and to explain the problems with the running narratives as they've been fed to us by a very one-sided documentary and agenda-driven Netflix series. Now, if you're one of those people who just watched the Netflix series and thought that the information in that film was 100% gospel truth, you're sadly mistaken. I'm sorry. There are several deviations from the truth in the series. I won't even be debunking them all, but I will start off by bringing it up as it's the most recent accounting that many people have seen. So in that film, the first thing that stood out to me is the first 7.5 minutes prior to the opening title. Those 7.5 minutes introduce us to the 5 young men in the few moments leading up to them going into the park. It paints a picture of a fun-loving group of teens on a mission to frolic into Central Park to simply hang out. This was what first tipped me off that something was amiss about this series. So while the Netflix series paints a picture of these happy-go-lucky kids running into the park just to have a little fun as teenagers, the testimony of the teens that were questioned paints a much different story. Most of those who were questioned agreed that the reason for going into the park to begin with was to wild out.
Did he say what you were going to do on Wednesday night? He said at 8 o'clock.
The series is called.
Hold on, stop. Why did you stop it right then?
Well, because it's an hour long. I just want to say
that was the wrong timing.
You know what, man? You terrible.
I keep playing it.
No, that's not it. Listen, focus for a minute. Just focus. Why would you stop it when they just asked the kid, we're going,
like it's not your movie.
Well, I'll tell y'all what. Y'all just when y'all want me to stop it, y'all just say stop, okay?
I just want to hear what the boy said. Let's hear this right quick. What they
case due to the testimony of several of the young men who used that phrase during their questioning. They say story. Most of those who were questioned agreed that the reason for going into the park to begin with was to wild out.
Did he say what you were going to do on Wednesday night?
He said at 8 o'clock we was going to go wilding.
Wilding?
Yes.
Now, the term wilding or wilding was made famous during this case due to the testimony of several of the young men who used that phrase during their questioning. They say from their own mouths that they had hoped to find people in the park to beat up. Many of the kids talked about taking Walkmans from joggers and violently attacking people.
What was everybody wandering around the park for? What were they going to do?
I guess beat people up.
You're telling us that you went into the park that night to commit robberies.
Yes.
We went to the park for,
To what?
for trouble. We went to the park for trouble, we got trouble. A lot of trouble.
Why did you go into the park?
But I thought we was gonna beat people up and take bikes, cruise, and get money.
You went in to beat people up, to take bikes, and
Rob them, get money.
you were going with your friends for that purpose.
Yes.
What did Raymond tell you?
He said, don't forget about Wednesday night.
Did he say what you were going to do on Wednesday night?
He said at 8 o'clock we was gonna go wild.
Wilding?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Whatever happens, like going around, hitting people, stuff like that.
I can't hear you very well. There's
Going around, punching, hitting on people, things like that. So he said let's go to the park and have some fun and bother some people.
Okay, Raymond said that.
Yeah,
When you went into the park, how many guys do you think there were altogether?
that was about 30 to 32.
How do you know so exactly how many people there
Because
were?
Raymond took a head count.
Okay. Was he in charge of the group?
He was trying to be,
Was somebody else more in charge?
not that I know of.
Everybody going wild tonight. Everybody.
When did you first hear that everyone was going wilding that
And the
night?
same thing. It
That's-
happened.
And you heard it in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Where did you hear it?
In PS 117.
Who was talking about it at PS 117?
Raymond
What's Raymond's last name?
Santana.
Raymond Santana. Now, you heard his name mentioned a bunch by these kids, and you'll hear his name a few more times as we go through this later. Basically, you hear him talking about how the group got together, how this all started. And what you'll realize is that Raymond Santana was named as the person who conceptualized the whole wilding thing and going out in the park and beating up people or robbing people or harassing or whatever they did. So I'm going to play a little bit more of this last gentleman talking about how Raymond had done this in the past, and this isn't even the first time that this thing had been going on. So apparently Raymond had taken a group to a carnival prior to that and done the same thing. Obviously not as severely, but he had organized the group before.
Right. And did you know Raymond before April 19th?
Yeah.
How do you know Raymond?
When I go around school, I think they be around there. And plus, one day, they went to go wild before they went to Central Park. It was on the carnival.
Raymond talked to you about going wilding?
Huh? On the carnival? Yeah, but I didn't go.
Did Raymond go wilding at the carnival?
Yeah, a lot. They did a lot of things. We got people. And my brother, he wasn't there, but he was at the carnival chilling out, and cops started chasing him and all that. And my brother just started running. The cops was running towards him, so my brother ran. He got caught.
It's important to note here that he's speaking of an event that happened at a carnival, and the police knew about this because there was a victim at that carnival too. And that victim was named Eddie Rivera, and he had a concession stand, and I guess it was maybe a game stand because he had teddy bears and things of that nature at the stand. The boys from that wilding episode were trying to steal the teddy bears, and the man confronted them with a baseball bat. Apparently, they were able to take the baseball bat away from the man and commenced to beating him until they broke his arm, and eventually somebody stabbed him in his side. So the police were aware of this situation, but they didn't put the two together until they came to interrogate a kid who was in Central Park, and this kid's name was Terrence T-Bone Campbell. Now, Campbell didn't incriminate himself in any of the park attacks, but he did end up doing 6 months for his admission of beating this man in the carnival. So he was convicted of riot and assault. And now back to Montalvo.
When you heard about going wilding on April 19th, you said you heard about that from Raymond. Yes?
Yes.
Did Raymond come up and talk to you about it himself, or did somebody else tell you that Raymond was organizing something?
I was sitting there and then like called me over and told me about it. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Raymond called you over to talk about it?
Yeah, like, yo, Tone, we're gonna have everybody like, yo, Tone, come on, Tone. Went over there and everybody saying, yo, we're going wild tonight. Like, yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, everyone was saying, I'll be there.
Yeah, everybody.
Did you say you would go too?
Yeah, I said, I'll be there. I just walked off.
Right. Everybody knew you were going to go wilding, right?
Yeah.
So when you were saying, what are we going to do? What were you talking about? Where you were going to go wilding?
Yeah, like where we going to go. Something like that. Somebody's going to go to Carnival.
Somebody suggested going to the Carnival. Where was that?
101st Street.
Was that the same place that Raymond had gone wilding before?
Yes.
And did someone suggest another place?
Somebody said Carnival, maybe said nope. And somebody said, let's chill right here. Roam around right here. Beat people up. And I'm like, nah. Somebody said Central Park.
Who decided to go to Central Park?
Raymond decided to go to Central Park.
Now that was Antonio Montalvo. He didn't end up being one of the Central Park Five, but one of the Central Park Five corroborated the same thing.
Who was leading the way?
It was Raymond and Charlie and Angela.
Whose idea was it to go to Central Park?
When I came there, was going to Central Park.
Now, I find it interesting that Raymond Santana would lie about this. Multiple people said that he was the leader and the person who got everybody together for this. Now, digging through some of the interview notes, I came upon an interview of a guy named David Monroe. David Monroe says this, that he knew Ray Santana and sometimes hung out with him. Wildin' was a regular activity for them. Different groups would meet in the park and bother people, pushing, shoving, taking their beer, etc. This is important because it shows us that Ray Santana was indeed a person who was set out to do crime and criminal activities that night.
Now, this group of young kids was about 30 deep. Some of them claimed that there were over 40 teenage boys in the group that night. Many of them didn't even know one another. From watching the media's coverage of this, one might assume that the others were never questioned by the police officers or never apprehended. This part should stick out in your mind. 37 of them were brought in and questioned by police. Now back to the Netflix series. The image the series presents of this bunch is just some boys just being a little mischievous and getting in the way of bicyclists and joggers on the path. They don't show any robberies or violence, at least not from the five. Now, when I refer to the five, I mean the five boys that we now call the Central Park Five. We see a couple of them observe what seems to be a robbery under a bridge right before they run out of the park by sirens and police officers. They look on, horrified, as they witness this one particular event. Yet this event is unlike anything that was described in any way in the testimony. In their testimony, they're right there being a part of the violence and robberies. It's very interesting that this part is removed from the film. The other important thing is that there were at least 7 victims besides Patricia Miley, who was the only one who was raped. So it wasn't just this one incident that was witnessed by the five, as you can easily hear in any one of their interrogation videos. So why would the director Ava DuVernay portray it this way? Well, she has an agenda, and she's not shy about it.
My goal was to humanize boys and now men who are widely regarded as criminals. And in doing that, to invite the audience to reinterrogate everyone that they define as a criminal.
You see, due to the fact that many people see these kids as victims, what they wish to do now is to strengthen the impact of that perceived victimhood by way of telling the story very differently from what evidence shows happened. This is going to be a lengthy video. Please bear with me. There is a lot of evidence to dig through.
Okay. Police operator 414, raise emergency.
Hello, this is Central Park Base. And we just got a call of a disorderly group, about 30 to 40 male blacks inside Central Park, approximately at 100th Street in the East Drive. They're acting disorderly and harassing people.
30 to 40 males?
About 30 to 40 male blacks.
Harassing passerbyers, right?
Disorderly group, large disorderly group.
Look up an assault at 102 and East Drive in Central Park. It's a roving band, Kay. The complainant was assaulted, Kay. 100th Street and East Drive, large disorderly group.
Large group inside the park, about 30 to 40 men.
Now, it's probably important that we go back and kind of get an idea about how these guys got arrested. Before we get into the crimes that were committed that night, we got to get into how they were brought in, because everything that we learned after they get arrested. So we're going to go from that point. And basically what happened is you had the police trying to round up. They got all these calls, and the police went and tried to round these kids up, 20 to 30 kids that were said to be in the group. Now we have a police, Eric Reynolds, who actually was able to discuss this. A lot of the cops weren't able to discuss it because they had gag orders at the time. I think some of them have passed away at this point, but Eric Reynolds is one of these people who was able to talk. He's a black officer, and he talks about exactly what happened that night.
We started getting numerous 9/11 calls. A large group of black and Hispanic youths assaulting and harassing people in the park. People were calling, 911, and people were coming into the station house. When we came out at 100th Street in Central Park West, there was the group right there, or at least part of the group. There's about 20 or 30 guys walking on the other side of the street, headed uptown. They were all together. It was a cohesive group. You could tell that they were, it wasn't random people walking at the same time. They were all together. We pulled up ahead of them and cut off the group. Everybody started running with the exception of Raymond Santana and Stephen Lopez. The two of them stood there. My partner and the officer in the scooter chased the rest of the group. I walked up to Santana and Lopez, and they immediately told me that the group was trying to rob them. Now, we had been sitting there watching them, and it was very clear that they were part of the group and that nobody was trying to rob them. So, because it was just me and them, I pretended to believe what they had to say, because otherwise, if I challenged them, if I told them I know that they're lying, they're going to start running.
Now, this is an important point here, because again, it establishes Raymond Santana as somebody who is not genuine, who will falsify a story. And later, Raymond will corroborate that story. We'll see.
Did you tell the police at first that you weren't with these people?
Yeah.
But that wasn't true.
Multiple times, Raymond Santana has lied on camera, and he seems to look very comfortable in his lying. I mean, his whole demeanor is a little bit cocky. I strongly believe that Raymond Santana was the ringleader of the group, and he has told lies. So that establishes one person, one of the five, as a violent criminal and someone who was prepared to go out there and do violent crimes.
What most people don't consider is that there were more than 5 young men who were brought in for questioning. Some of them were charged with robbery and assault on other Central Park joggers who were not raped, but simply robbed and assaulted for the fun of it. Quite a few of those young men who were brought in also had videotaped interrogations, but were not implicated in the rape. Those who weren't videotaped still had their testimony taken in notes on the case.
So as it happens, all of those people who had their testimony taken told very similar stories. So you have 37 witnesses, so to speak, or 37 people who were a part of the victimization of at least a half a dozen victims in the park that evening. So one of the first victims was Antonio Diaz, and Diaz was referred to as the bum. they beat him up pretty badly and left him unconscious, and you'll hear that story here.
And we seen this old man, and then my cousin clotheslined him with his arm, and he fell, and other kids started rushing up to him, hitting on him.
They started to jump him, kicked him.
I seen, from what I seen, it like they was beating somebody up on the other end of the baseball field.
The dark-skinned kid came behind him, clotheslined him, took his food.
My nose was coming. I opened the rice. I don't like rice. I put the rice down. Opened the chicken. So I grabbed the fork real quick, picked the chicken up, took a bite. Everybody said, "Ugh, you disgusting, Tony, disgusting. How you gonna eat that?" Fuck that. I said, "Fuck that. I'm hungry, man. I'm hungry. I ain't eating all day. I'm hungry."
Steven began to kick him.
Stephen Lopez?
Yes.
The bum was lying in the road?
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody else kick him?
No, I remember them pulling him up on the sidewalk. I remember that. Pulling him up on the sidewalk and lying there.
How many times did Steve kick him?
At least 3 times.
Did anybody else join in? Did anybody hit him or anybody else kick him?
It might have, but I just recall Lamar and Steven hitting on him.
What were you doing?
I was watching.
You'll notice that most of the boys who tell this story say that they were just watching. That seems to be the same from most of them. A couple of them will say that they did something. I think Corey said that he kicked as well, but that was his second testimony. He went back and revised his testimony, and what I played there was that second version. So as you can see, there's a pattern. These kids all witnessed this, and there's no coercion going on. There's nothing that is being fed to them. So this is something that happened, and it establishes a pattern for the night. That night was about hurting people and doing wrong for reasons of just having fun. Now, before I go into the other attacks, I want to point out a couple of things that some of these kids say. A couple of these kids say about Yusuf Salaam. Now, Yusuf Salaam is the most outspoken one of the group now in his 40s. He's wears very gaudy jewelry, and he's all dolled up in his suits and very well spoken. So he's obviously an intelligent kid, and now an intelligent adult at 40 something. I went to see him and Raymond Santana speak at the local university here, and he mentioned a ninja star and people wanting to criminalize him because he had been caught with this ninja star. But it wasn't just a ninja star. He actually also had a butcher's knife. So while he was at the university giving a speech and saying, "Oh, it's so silly that they think I was this criminal because I had this ninja star," well, it wasn't just a ninja star. I mean, a lot of kids have ninja stars as toys, and some kids even have pocket knives. But a kitchen knife is not something you're going to run around with, because you can't fold it. It's just not something that you would expect somebody to run around with unless they plan on doing damage with it. And it just so happens that people who didn't even know Yusuf out there in Central Park that night saw him holding a knife. So we have now evidence of Yusuf having a history with knives, and this wasn't the only knife. When he got locked up, they found a knife in his wallet, a blade in his wallet, and he had a keychain with a bird, and it had a bird-shaped knife. So he had multiple knives, and there's an article that says that the majority of his friends knew him to carry lots of knives. In this clip I'm about to play, you'll see Stephen Lopez mention that night he was wielding a butcher knife. And that is important because one of the lacerations on Patricia Miley happened to be a cut laceration. Yusuf being seen with the knife or being mentioned with a knife here is important. Moreover, this is not the only person that mentions him having a knife, but for time, I'm going to only use this clip here.
Like the driver was running by, and they tried to cut him off, and Yusuf, he was carrying a kitchen knife on him, but he kept running by, and they tried to cut him off, but he was too fast, so Yusuf took out his knife and tried to cut him.
Was he able to cut him?
I don't know. You couldn't see. I really couldn't tell because I was more to the back.
What could you see him do?
But he said like this. He said like this, and the driver had to like this. I don't know if he cut him or not, and the driver kept running.
Now, for the sake of time, I'm going to skip some of the other descriptions of attacks. You're welcome to check them out yourself. Again, I will have all this information posted in the description where you can find all these videos. They interviewed quite a few of the boys that were there that night and got them to get on tape. Their parents were there.
And is this your father who's seated next to you?
Yes. Some of them you can actually see their parents or hear their parents. This Netflix series seems to try and make you believe that the parents weren't there, but they were there.
Woo!
Let's go to the third jogger that they beat up right before they made it to Patricia Miley. This jogger got it the worst. His name was John Laughlin. And we're going to go with that rather than go over the other two joggers. There's other two joggers that they really highlight the beatings that they took as well. But the one who got it the worst besides Patricia Miley was John Laughlin. And I think that he's a good one to highlight here.
Well, anyway, after that jogger, there was another jogger that had an army jacket on, and he had long pants on, and he was jogging slow. So all the guys out in the front, like the big guys, they was like, yo, let's get this one, man. He running slow.
Everybody got a gun and started beating him up.
Did you start beating him up too?
Yeah.
Did you punch him?
Yeah.
Did you kick him?
No, I just punched him.
You punched him in the face?
Yeah.
Hard?
Yeah.
A lot of times?
Yeah.
A couple of times?
No, he,
Just a few times.
like once or twice.
And everybody was punching him and kicking him? Did anybody have a weapon?
Well, that kid that had the white on, he had a knife. But
What kind of a knife did he have?
some kind of knife. Some little knife.
What did it look like?
I only seen the hand. It was like a brown hand.
Okay, you're going like this. Was it a round handle? Did it have a curve in it, or was it just a straight handle?
Like a straight hand.
He didn't pull it out then?
No.
Then Yusuf came. Yusuf had a solid metal pipe on it, wrapped up in some black tape. So he came up and he started hitting the man with it in his back.
Where did he hit him?
His back.
Was the guy standing up or lying down?
Nah, he was on his knees.
He was on his knees?
Yeah, he was like this. He was on his knees. So Yusuf was hitting him on his back.
Was he saying anything when he was hitting him?
He's like, stop, don't hit me, don't hit me.
What was Yusuf saying?
He wasn't saying nothing, he was just hitting him. So then Raymond was hitting him with a stick.
Raymond Santana?
Yeah, he was hitting him with a stick.
What kind of a stick? Like from a tree or a piece of wood?
Piece of tree that was about this big, like a branch.
A branch?
Yeah.
Antoine had this like this little steel bat. Not a bat. It's like a pipe or something.
How big was the pipe?
Little like this.
Okay, was there any, was heavy? Was it solid?
Yes.
Was there any tape on it?
Yes. Black tape.
Where was the tape? All along it or just a one
All over it.
Yusuf, he had some kind of iron stick, some iron. I don't know if it was a stick, it was iron, and it was at least 14 inches and had black tape around it.
So Antoine ran up to him, and with the iron thing
Where did he hit him with it?
in the forehead.
He ran up behind him and hit him in the front of him?
No, so he ran up to him, hit him in the forehead.
Notice how he stopped to correct her. Now, would someone who's getting coerced stop to correct the interviewer? No. He knows what happened. She doesn't. He's correcting her because she's getting it wrong and he needs to correct her to tell her exactly what happened.
Did he say anything when he did that?
Nothing, just hit him. And everybody started running out.
Running out from where they were hiding,
Bush.
where the jogger was.
Yes.
And what did Antron do then?
He kept on hitting, and the blood was like coming out.
They ran over to us. The whole group of them ran over to us. And that's when they began to say stuff like they kicked his ass. That was Yusuf. And Antron gave him back the pipe. And the kid Raymond, he said that he broke his stick while beating the man. I think it had to be a wooden stick then. He said he broke his stick.
Now, you may notice some slight differences in the stories, talking about the pipe and who had the pipe. It was Yusuf and Antron who were mentioned. And you'll hear Clarence Thomas kind of clarify that in this clip that I'm about to play. But you'll also hear that some of the boys minimize their part in the beating, especially Raymond Santana, who says he only hit the guy with his hand once or twice. He doesn't mention the stick, yet two of the others talk about him having a stick and having bragged about breaking the stick on the man. So again, Raymond Santana at this point is not a reliable source. We know that.
So the pipe that you had seen Yusuf with, after this assault of the jogger was over, you saw Antron with that pipe.
Yes.
Now, the police described the wounds that Laughlin took as a result of what these kids are talking about as pretty severe. I mean, I think he was knocked unconscious, and when they found him, when they saw him, they said that his head looked as if it had been dunked in a bucket of blood. That was the descriptor that they used. So his injuries were pretty serious. Now, they weren't life-threatening, but they were serious. And now we need to go into the event that everyone knows the Central Park 5 for, and that is the rape of Patricia Miley. This is difficult. She was hurt pretty badly, but things that you should pay attention to is the fact that their stories are pretty consistent with how they've told stories about these other joggers. These things did happen. These boys did describe these events like they appear to have happened, same way that the joggers described them. The only person that couldn't describe what happened was the rape victim. And we fill in those gaps with what these boys say until you hear testimony from Mateus Reyes, which we will talk about later, and why that's important or not important, or how they all fit together, which is very interesting and completely worthwhile for you to stick around. So bear with me. We're going to go through Patricia Miley, and we're going to go through some of the incredible stories that are now seen as the truth, but have some questions that have never been answered nor asked. You see these kids on TV and nobody asks the hard questions for some reason. But there are some hard questions, and we'll get into those as well. So let's go.
Did anybody say anything about looking for a woman jogger?
Stephen, earlier, but that was earlier.
What did he say?
He said something like, let's go get a woman jogger. I remember that.
How long? Well,
remember earlier when I said that as we climbed up the rocks, some left, made like they were leaving, some left. Stephen was one of them.
A lady jogger came.
was she running on the road, or was she running on the same path that man jogger had been running on?
She was on the road.
What did the lady jogger look like?
She was short. She had short hair. She had gray short. Black biking pants.
Raymond ran back of her, and she looked back at Raymond. And she started running a little fast. Steve came out towards the front and grabbed her from the front.
They caught her and like pulled her shirt and like
Who caught her first?
Antron.
And
Steve and Raymond was going like beside me.
when they caught her, what did they do to her? Did they grab her? What did they do?
He pushed her though, he still had a grab. He pushed her with the grab, she fell on the floor.
Did she fall face down or backwards?
Fell like this.
So that her face was down on the dirt?
Yes.
She got on the ground. Everybody started hitting her stuff. She was on the ground. Everybody stopped and everything.
So from there, they brought her body way down there. That's where the blood was at.
How did they get her down to where you found the blood?
They dragged her.
How did they drag her?
They grabbed her from her feet and dragged her down the rest. Her back was on the grass. They just dragged her down the rest. They dragged her down. That's when Steve stripped her clothes with the knife and everything.
Lopez just smacked the lady in the face.
Was she screaming?
She was just hollering like, help, help.
And
smacked.
You said that Kevin knocked her to the ground. He tripped her.
Yeah.
What happened to her when she was on the ground?
Lopez came and he was holding her by her arms. He pinched her arms with his knees. And then he covered her mouth with his hand. And then she was still screaming, so he started smacking her.
What did he smack her with?
His hand
Where did he smack her?
in the face. Smacked her in the face.
Where was he in relation to her body? She was lying on the ground.
Like this.
And he was behind her head?
Yeah.
And he was holding her hands? You said that he was kneeling on her arms?
Yeah, on her arm.
And what was he doing with his hands?
He was covering her mouth. So every time she was talking, he was smacking. He said, shut up, bitch. He kept smacking her.
How many times did he smack her?
I think twice, 3 times.
And did she keep screaming?
And he just kept smacking.
Did somebody stuff something in her mouth?
No, he picked up the brick and he hit her with the brick twice.
Where did he hit her with the brick?
Around her face, around here, somewhere up here.
When they did all that, I didn't want to sit right there and look at what's going on. I didn't want to look like no. If you with them, you got to show a little effort around them too.
And then we grabbed each of them. Like, I grabbed one arm, the other kid grabbed one arm, we grabbed the legs and stuff. And then we got also someone's getting on top of.
I'm sorry, you have
Parents getting on top of.
What was Kevin doing while Steve Lopez was holding her hands and hitting her with the brick?
He was having sex with her.
What did you see him doing? Was he on top of her?
And Steve had her leg. That's the Antoine on the top.
When he was holding her legs, was he holding them apart?
Yes, right.
Did she still have her shoes on?
No.
What did Antoine do then?
And took the chains off and like had sex with her.
You still had her arms, and me and Kev was playing with her.
What were you doing when you were playing with her?
Huh?
What were you doing?
I was playing with her legs.
What were you doing to her legs?
Huh? I was going up and down her legs. I wasn't doing as much as they was doing. Steve ripped her pants with his knife. That's what made her mad. And that's when she started scratching him. Listen there, Kevin. She was yelling pretty loud. Used to close their mouth. They had bigger heads than us. Close their mouth.
I got in the way. She kind of like scratched me a little bit. It wasn't the face.
Let me just ask you, you're saying that she scratched you and you're indicating a place on your face?
Yeah, I think somewhere right here. It wasn't big.
Is that the mark that's right here on your cheek?
Yes.
So, she reached out, she scratched you?
Yeah.
Did anybody have a weapon?
Yeah, black pipe.
You're making a sign about how big the pipe was. What is that? A little bit less than 2 feet or about 2 feet long? Is that what you think?
About 2 feet long. It was small.
And what was it, a stick or a pipe?
It was a pipe.
Who had that pipe?
At first, I don't really know. I want to bring nobody. I don't really know, but I think the 12 black kid had a pipe. I don't really know.
Kevin hit her in the face with the rock. That's what knocked her out. Definitely knocked her out. She thought it was a punch, but it was a rock that hit her. Steve was using the knife to cut her legs. I don't know how he was doing it. He was using cut her legs. Half of them was using their nails to cut her legs. And me and Yusuf, since Kev and Steve and Raymond was acting wild, me and Yusuf stayed to the side. Even though we were playing with her, we stayed to the side. They were acting too wild. They were swinging on her and everything.
Now that's a lot to
I'm
deal
good.
with and listen to. Some of the stories vary slightly, and some names were not often mentioned. Yusuf Salam's name was not often mentioned. It seemed like he was not into the situation, though he was there and he did take part. But Corey's story, while everyone seems to have a bit of a problem with his testimony, it seems to ring the most true, and he gives the most detailed version of the story. And rather than play anymore, it's a lot for me to deal with. I'm going to move on to some of the issues that you should be paying attention to here. One issue in particular is the lack of any testimony from Steve Lopez. Now, we're going to look at what he said in a moment, but what you'll notice is that Steve Lopez denied any wrongdoing. He denied he was at this scene of the rape, while you heard his name mentioned probably the most of anybody from these other guys. There was also one mention of Michael Briscoe, who was also questioned about being there, and his response was the most telling of them all. He sat there in silence for a couple of minutes, did not answer any more questions after they tried to place him at the scene of the rape.
I don't know what happened to him.
So both of them stopped talking. That's notable. But let's have a look at Steve.
Every single person says that you were with them when this woman was raped.
Ice cold.
Every single person says that. So I asked you in the beginning of the statement if you want to tell me the truth about what happened. And I want to hear the truth about what happened. But I have to ask you, if these are people who are either friends of yours or who have no beef with you, why is everybody saying you were there?
I don't know. I don't have no arguments to, I get along with everybody.
So they have no reason to make it up, right?
I don't know why they did it, because I wasn't there. They said I was physically there, that I was holding the lady down. I ain't even seen no lady.
See, he is ice cold with this. Now, he did say one thing that kind of messed him up. He said, if they say I was holding the lady down, she never mentioned them saying that. So
right.
He kind of gives himself away by saying that, in my opinion. The question I'm asking is, if there's coercion, how come they couldn't coerce these two or the other folks that they interviewed? The Tony Montalvo also gave a response that was, I wasn't there. Montalvo is certainly my favorite of all the interviews to watch because he's animated, he likes to talk, and he frustrates the hell out of Elizabeth Lederer in this clip that I'm about to show you. So it's quite entertaining to hear him talk, whereas some of the others are a little bit dry. But his interview just reminds me of people who engage in these type of behaviors. Friends of mine when I was a kid, I know people like a lot of these guys. So when you hear this exchange, he's frustrating the hell out of Elizabeth Lederer because he basically told her that he hadn't seen any weapons that entire night until the end when someone tries to hand him a weapon that he doesn't want to hold because he doesn't want to get fingerprints on it. And she rightly asked him, well, why would you be worried about it if you didn't see anybody use a weapon? Watch.
Why didn't you want the pipe?
Huh?
Why didn't you want the pipe?
Fingerprints.
You were afraid that there'd be fingerprints on it?
Yeah. I knew that I had to do something with that pipe in the park. Hit somebody, so I wouldn't want my
How'd you know
fingerprints.
that they used that pipe in the park?
Huh?
How'd you know that they used that pipe in the
They
park?
brought them to the park, so they had to do something with the pipe.
How'd you know they brought it to the park?
Huh?
How'd you know they brought it to the park?
Then Antoine didn't have the pipe when I
How do you know you didn't find it on the street?
Huh?
How do you know he didn't find it?
I don't know, but I know when I went up to him and said something, he had no
Tony.
weapon on him.
Tony, you want to tell us about it?
I'm dead up when I said something, Antoine, he had no weapon on, he had nothing in his pocket.
Yeah.
I said something, he had nothing, he had no weapon. Nothing. Alright, so. Now how you gonna end up with a
You
fight?
just spent almost an hour telling us about what happened in that park, and I asked you at every point, did anybody have a weapon? And you said no. I asked you if the reservoir was there a pipe. You said no, I thought it was a stick. All of a sudden, you're out of the park, someone tries to give you a pipe, and I said, why didn't you want it? And you said you were afraid there'd be fingerprints on it. Why would you care if there were fingerprints on it? From what you're telling us tonight, you didn't have any reason to think it was used in a crime. But you knew that it was used in a crime, didn't you?
Nope.
You knew that it was used to beat the female jogger on 102nd Street.
Nope, I wasn't there on that section when they beat the jogger.
There's 3 people who were supposedly there that they have on video who, despite all this coercion talk, were not coerced to talk. So why did it work on 4 but not the other 3? And the answer is because there was no coercion. And there was an investigation that stated just that as well. There wasn't coercion. What there was a whole lot of damn evidence. And it's unfortunate that, you know, these movies, documentaries, and Netflix series do not show the evidence. So let's go over the evidence. When those kids came out of the park, they were confronted by Officer Reynolds and his partner and the other female officer who was on the scooter. They were able to catch
What's
5
that
of them.
tweaking noise?
Michael Briscoe,
It's like a fan.
Kevin Richardson, Santana Lopez, and Clarence Thomas. Out of those young men, Clarence Thomas gets put in the backseat of the car and starts crying.
2 of the kids were crying and saying, I didn't do the murder, but I know who it was. It was Antron McRae, and I'll tell you where he lives.
Did you start to cry in the police car?
Yes.
And did you start to say something to the police?
That's when I began to ask, yes.
Did you say that you knew who the murderer was?
After they had said that the person was essentially dead, that's when I said that.
What did you say?
I said that I know the person who killed him. You know, I was crying and stuff. Because I remember as they came back, I seen Antron with the pipe, and they were saying that he was beaten over the head. And I figured it was Antron since he came back with the pipe.
Did you tell the police it was Antron?
Yes.
Now, when they said they didn't do the murder, my assumption, we all assumed, that they were talking about the gentleman, and this guy was a teacher, his name was John Lockman. We thought they were talking about him because he was beaten so badly, we assumed that they thought they killed him.
So this is the beginning of these kids beginning to incriminate themselves. And a lot of people think that the police coerced these kids into talking about this stuff, and they did not. They offered up this information voluntarily, as you just saw with Clarence Thomas. He admitted to beginning to cry in the police car, and automatically he goes into telling on himself, telling on everybody else that's there. Who starts to snitch next? And the next person who starts to confess is Kevin Richardson. They had found the body of Patricia Miley. Well, I wouldn't say body because she was alive, but they found her very badly beaten. And so they needed to find out if anybody who was in the park at that time saw anything. So they wanted to question the boys because that's just police procedure. So they questioned 2 of them, Clarence Thomas and Lamont McCall, with their parents, and they didn't know anything. So they let them go home. Kevin Richardson was the 3rd person that they questioned, and Kevin Richardson had a scratch on his face. So the police asked about the scratch.
Now, contrary to popular belief, we did not ask him about the female jogger. That's not the way that we operate. We get their full statement first. And then we go back and we ask them more questions. And the thing that we do is we get the answers before we ask them the questions. This way we know when they're lying. He had a scratch under his eye. And one of the detectives said to him, well, how did you get that scratch? And he said that my partner Bobby scratched him when he was arresting him. So the detective said to him, okay, Bobby's next door. I'm going to go ask him, and you had better be telling the truth. At that point, Kevin Richardson said, okay, it was the female jogger that scratched me. When he said that, because none of us were expecting it, it was almost like a bomb went off. Now we realized, okay, we got a different problem on our hands. We just let two of them go.
So this point is very significant because they didn't tell Richardson about the jogger. He didn't know about the female jogger. He simply gave that information up. Now, this is what sunk the ship. The whole Central Park 5 ship was sunk by Kevin Richardson in this moment. And you have to remember, when Corey was giving his testimony, he also talked about Kevin getting scratched in the face by the lady.
Steve ripped up heads with his knife. That's what made her mad. And that's when she started scratching him. What's in there? Kevin.
Now, when did they get together and share this story to tell the police officers? Now, if you watch the Burns documentary, they act like he got hit by an officer. And this never happened. But then you have to think about how they two would get together and come up with concoct this story of him getting scratched by the jogger. Both Corey Wise mentioned his face getting scratched, and he mentions it himself. And then later, when they're doing the documentary, they act like this never happened, like they never came up with this stuff. It's amazing. Now, this is what the Netflix series doesn't tell you. This is what the Ken Burns documentary doesn't tell you. This isn't what the Central Park 5 book tells you. None of them tell you this significant piece of information, but it is the loose lip that sunk the ship, so to speak. And they all went on to tell on one another. These guys are the most celebrated snitches in Black history. But eventually, it wasn't just about them talking on camera or behind closed doors. At some point before he was picked up, Corey Wise was telling people in the street that the police were looking for him. He was approached by two of his friends, Ronald Williams and Shabazz Head. They were told by Wise to get the hell away from them because the police were after him. So they walked away. But a little while later, they ran into him again and they asked him why the police were actually after him. And Wise responded, "You heard about that woman that was beat up and raped in the park last night? That was us." So he told Shabazz Head and Ronald Williams this, who later got on the stand and testified to this. Later, just before the trial, Corey was on the phone with Melody Jackson, who is the sister of one of his friends, and he called from jail. So apparently Melody didn't want Corey to do any prison time. She wanted his court case to go well. She took this call from Wise from Rikers Island when he was in Rikers. She asked him, "Hey, Corey, did you do what the newspapers are saying that you did?" Corey's response to her was that he didn't rape anyone. He only held her legs down while Kevin cuffed her. Now, this woman, Melody Jackson, thought that this information would be helpful to Corey. because it proves that Corey was innocent. He didn't have sex with the woman. However, we all know that holding a woman down while someone else penetrates her it makes you an accomplice. So you are an accomplice to rape. So even with her doing that, and she did testify as well. She had testified to this had this conversation, and the phone records do show that he made that phone call. It also must be noted that none of the boys admitted to having sex with the jogger.
Right.
They may have simulated sex, but they didn't penetrate her.
Then you got on top of her. Did you have your pants down when you did that?
No.
Did you have your fly open?
Yeah, but my penis wasn't in her.
What happened?
I just, like, my penis wasn't in her. I didn't put nothing in. I didn't put nothing to it.
Well, when you got on top of her, you got on top of her so that you could have sex with her, right?
Not really. I just doing it so everybody know. I wasn't like really doing it.
You said you were just doing it so that everybody what?
Like, everybody just know I did it.
Well, I haven't really you. When you got on top of her, you had your penis out of your pants?
Yes.
And it was between her legs?
No.
It was against her?
Yeah.
And did you rub against her?
Yeah.
Did you have an erection?
No.
There was also lots of other evidence, blood evidence, which again doesn't get mentioned by the media. So there were blood stains on Santana's right sneaker, Yusuf Salam's jacket, and on Lopez's underwear. There were also semen stains that were found in the underwear of McCrae and Richardson. And somehow Santana had semen on his sweatshirt. And then there was the evidence of hairs. They found hairs that were consistent with the female jogger's hair on Kevin Richardson's clothing and on Stephen Lopez. If that wasn't enough, you also had soil on the victim, McCrae, Santana, and Richardson. Now, it should be noted that DNA evidence was a new science. It had only first begun to be used in 1985 overseas and came to America in 1987. That's just 2 years before the Central Park case. Furthermore, the methods used to get trace evidence changed considerably in the 1990s. So in this particular case, you find that there's a lack of conclusive evidence on the blood. So all the blood that's found on them, for the most part, was inconclusive. They don't know whose blood it was. But the fact that they had blood on them at all, and semen, should give you some amount of pause, especially when some of it was found in their underwear. So as you can see, along with the testimony, you had physical evidence. Why is that not in the Netflix series? Why is that not in the newsreels? Why is that not being asked of these guys when they do interviews? Because people don't want to hear the truth. That's why.
Whoa.
That brings us to the crown jewel of this case, Mateus Reyes, who supposedly has cleared their names. Everybody believes that now that there is Mateus Reyes, who came out and confessed that he did this rape by himself. Now everybody thinks that, oh, these guys are innocent. And people are calling them the exonerated five. They're no longer the Central Park Five. They're the exonerated five. Well, what's the problem with that? The problem is that they were never exonerated. Their case was vacated.
Mhm.
Having a case vacated is different than having a case exonerated. Exonerated means that you're innocent.
Hmm.
Vacated does not. Vacated means that basically erases the whole court procedures. And being that they already did their time, it didn't matter. What people don't realize is that they knew that there were no DNA matches when they got locked up. They knew that there was DNA out there. They got a sperm sample from her rectum and in her cervix.
Mm.
And that sperm sample didn't match any of the boys. So they already knew that somebody was missing. It's not like this was a revelation. The only thing that was new was you having someone say, I did it alone. That was what was new. And that brings you to the interviews of Mateus Reyes.
Was she wearing a bra?
Good question. Maybe not. I can't remember that.
Can you give me a description of her?
I'm not gonna lie to you. The most I can remember was some pants and I can't remember exactly how long the hair was and all that. It's like I remember is putting her pants down and I don't think I took them off.
You don't think you
I know I lifted her up and I didn't pull my pants all the way down and I did what I had to do and I let her back down and I did gently, and
Did you roll her over on her stomach at any point?
I can't remember if I did that.
How about shoes and socks? What's with them? They
It's
say.
I'm assuming it's jogging sneakers.
Okay. And you did not take them off, I assume?
I don't think that I was trying to. I don't know if I definitely wasn't trying to find out, if I told you pretty or not.
Okay, so it's been some time since these things have happened. Granted, I'll give him that. But there's a lot of things that he doesn't remember. Most specifically, her hair length. He talked about running behind her and zigzagging for a long time to keep up with her and to be elusive. He did this zigzagging stuff. How did he not remember what her hair length was? While on that night in 1989, Kevin Richardson gave an accurate description of her hair length.
What did the lady jogger look like?
She was short. She had short hair.
So you started running after her?
So basic, once I get to a certain area, my hair stops zigzagging or whatever. Try to keep.
Why were you zigzagging?
Because sometimes who knows if they look back or whatever. So I just because they got outside of the road they got trees and all that there too. Power. But she was jogging. She wasn't jogging that fast. And when she got around the turn, I was still jogging, walking things like that on the road, and then I would bounce back over here, but then I would this way, this way. But we always maintain a certain distance, like timing the distance, like stopping.
Yeah. How big a distance are we talking about?
Maybe room, 2 rooms, or maybe like 2 rooms and 2 rooms like this.
It should be noted that they did a reenactment of this zigzagging and it didn't fare well. What you'll see is that he picks up a branch, much like he claimed to have done that night. He claims that he hit her in the back of the head with the branch, and that is how he basically caught her. He knocked her down with this branch, which doesn't seem nearly as likely as her being surrounded by a group of boys who could overpower her. She's much faster than Reyes would probably be. He also mentioned her shoes and socks, not taking off her shoes and socks. But at the crime scene, we have a picture of one of her socks. And of course, they got his semen off of one of her socks that had the insole laying there. So why does he not remember that? Mind you, I'm not trying to say that he wasn't there. Obviously, he was there. What I'm trying to say is I don't know that he was responsible for the initial attacks. And what do you mean when I say initial attacks? Well, the attacks that Corey Wise and all the rest of the Central Park Five described would be the initial attacks. Okay. Now, why do I think that Reyes wouldn't know anything about the initial attacks? Well, there's a letter here from someone named Pedro Hernandez that he was locked up with in Clinton Correctional Facility. And basically what that letter says is, we'll look here. We're not going to read the whole thing. It says, I first met Reyes in 19 such and such. Okay, they were housed together in Clinton Correctional Facility. And now he's going to say how he knows about the Central Park 5 case and Patricia Miley. He said he was walking down in the park that night and he was high on PCP dust. Mm-hmm. And he heard someone screaming and he went to where the screaming was coming from. And he saw a bunch of guys and they were around a part where they're joggers and saw a woman on the ground. And he went over to where they were and asked what was going on. And one of the guys said to him, nothing, we're just having a little fun. So Reyes asked if he can hang out too. And the guys told him yes. So they were all raping her in, I don't know what that word is. And she was still screaming. So one of the guys keep on hitting her in the face so she can quiet down. And then Reyes also was raping her and he saw something evil about her in her eyes. Mm-hmm. Like if they were ready to come out. So he started to hit her with the rock in her. We're playing with her body and hitting her. And this was all of them. Reyes had told me, not just him. Reyes told me they were all down with the rape and him to Reyes. But that's all I knew about that case because Reyes told me all this himself from the time we were in Clinton till he left the jail and went somewhere else. So that's pretty damning if it's true that Reyes was telling people in prison that he wasn't the main actor in this case. He came later. This is what he's saying. So this could be possible. This is a possibility. The question is, why is nobody bringing it up today? How come nobody talks about this? So if we go back to 1989, when these boys were questioned, the Central Park Five, not Matias Reyes, Corey Wise was questioned by an officer Jonesa. And at the time, this wasn't recorded, but it is recorded in some notes. Corey Wise mentioned a kid named Rudy playing with Patricia Miley's tits. And he said that Rudy took the Walkman. He also described a fanny pack that she had the Walkman in. Okay, so why is the name Rudy significant? We don't know anybody. We don't know any Rudys. Who is Rudy? Why did he mention someone named Rudy?
Reyes.
Well, it just so happens in the book, Your Eyes or Your Life, the true story of the Central Park jogger rapist, written by Richard Siracusa, who was Matias Reyes's lawyer in a couple of cases prior to the Central Park case. He didn't handle all of Matias Reyes's cases. He was his lawyer in the past. Anyway, he writes this book and he writes it about Matias Reyes just being this vicious guy. But then he also talks about the Central Park 5 case a little bit. But he mentions the name Rudy. He said that he had went to a place where Reyes worked, or a bodega. He says, I'm going to read from here. It said, I remembered interviewing Papo, the owner of the bodega where Reyes worked in 1989. As I was questioning him, one of his workers indicated that he knew Reyes and that he answered to the name of Rudy. Papo nodded in agreement. He did tell me that he was also known as Tony. Okay, so now we have a name. Rudy mentioned by Corey Wise that this guy remembers Reyes was known as. Now, Reyes had several aliases, it turns out. But that's not the only thing. There's also the point that no one ever mentioned that Walkman being in a fanny pack. It wasn't mentioned in any of the videos. It's not known to the news. It wasn't released anywhere except in that note from Officer Jonesa. Reyes talked about a Walkman in 2002 when he confessed. He talks about taking her headset and a fanny pack. So the question is, how did Corey Wise know about that Walkman? It's not mentioned anywhere else. Never before has it mentioned, except for in Corey Wise's testimony to Officer Jonesa. There's not mention of this Walkman. So we have to figure out how the hell did Corey Wise know about a Walkman being in a fanny pack? And how the hell did he know somebody named Rudy? Now, if you also listen to Antron McCrae's testimony, he speaks of another Puerto Rican kid in a hoodie, but he doesn't know his name. Nobody knows who that person is. Who is that guy in the hoodie? Nobody can figure out his name. Nobody knows his name is. And they were in a big group of kids when nobody knew one another. A Rudy could just show up and come up and be a part of this rape. But that's not all. The author also speaks about Reyes speaking to him about having a partner in crime during some of the crimes that he committed prior to his arrest in August of 1989. See, Reyes was also arrested in 89, but he was arrested in August while the rest of them were arrested in April. So what you have is now Reyes saying that he had this partner, and his partner's name was Steve, much like Steven Lopez, right? What it says later is the description of an associate with whom he had committed other crimes closely resembled the physical features of Steve Lopez. The description he gives is of a kid who has hair much like Steve Lopez's, like we see, but also he has this scar on the side of his face. And if you look closely at photos of Steven Lopez, he has a very similar scar to what Reyes said that this person also had. Now, Reyes was asked about this later, and he gets really angry at Nancy Ryan when she asked him about it. And I have the audio for that, but I won't play it for this video. We're already over an hour. I will leave it in the notes. So the thought is that if Lopez and Reyes knew one another, then that might explain how Reyes was able to, participate that night. Now we know about Reyes having a fight with Corey in Rikers Island, 1990. So they have this fight, and we don't really know what that fight was about. We can speculate, but they have a fight. Later, Reyes says he runs into Corey again at another prison many, many years later, and they recognize each other, and they have a conversation at which Corey says, "Oh, it's nothing." He blows it off.
He said, "I would like to apologize to you. We had a fight, Rikers Island, about a TV, so forth. So I'm saying, it ain't about nothing, man. We here. It's not gonna free neither one of us. Don't worry about it."
That's his version of the story today. However, we have lots of notes that state that Reyes was afraid for his life and wanted to be away from Corey Wise. And he starts to tell people that, hey, I did this crime, and this other guy's locked up for it. That's what he's whispering to people and trying to get people to understand that he did this crime, but there's another guy arrested for it. All that while trying to get away from Corey Wise because he fears for his life and that it presents a problem for him. And officers agree that Corey Wise is a danger to him as long as he is the one who actually did the crime. Now, the question is, how did Reyes know that Wise knew that Reyes had done this thing? Like, why was he in danger? If he didn't speak to Wise about it, and he says in testimony he did not speak to Wise about this case at all.
So he's never said to you in any of your conversations with him, whether they were 12 years ago or they were since you've been together here at Auburn.
Well, together here, the only thing that I actually said to him when I approached him was I apologized to him because I wanted to make amends to him because we got into a fight in that same house back in 1989 when we was at. Like I said to you before earlier, I didn't approach him in a way to speak to him about the case because I don't know what would have been his reaction.
Wise says the same thing. They didn't speak to each other about the case. How the hell did Corey Wise know that Reyes was the one who did the crime that he was locked up for? What was the danger of Corey Wise if Corey Wise did not know that Reyes was the person who was responsible for him doing all this time? That's never explained. It's not explained anywhere, but we have all this paperwork that shows you that Reyes was in fear of his life from Corey Wise. Furthermore, the Armstrong report says there is also reason to question Reyes's claim that a chance meeting with Wise in the yard at Auburn in 2001 triggered the remorse that led to his confession. Corrections officers have checked the movement records of both Wise and Reyes in 2001 at Auburn and assert that it is not possible that Reyes and Wise were at any time together in the yard. If that's so, how is this story even being taken seriously? The answer to that question is fairly simple. The media is not looking at the facts. They're turning a blind eye. An article online at a certain newspaper that will remain nameless was sent the facts by someone who cares about this case. They sent the writer of the article the actual facts, the actual documents that you're seeing in this video, and the person deleted the post, did not respond to this person. This person went on to send them multiple emails that they did not respond to. So they've had this information for a long time and they just refuse to look at it. Why? Because the narrative is more important than the facts. This is unfortunately the case for a lot of things these days. But let's get back to Reyes for a minute. If in fact it is the case that Reyes and Wise did not meet that day, then what is the motivation for Matias Reyes coming out with this information? We got to ask. And I think some of the answers are shown here in the Armstrong report. Let's take a look. Here the report states, another simpler and less speculative motive for Reyes to have come forward to exculpate the defendants is that he won a favorable prison assignment for doing so. Purporting to fear Wise's reaction to his revelation, Reyes demanded protection at the time he came forward. Within a month, he was transferred to the Clinton Assessment Program's Prepared Unit at Clinton Correctional Facility. According to state corrections personnel, this is considered the safest and one of the most desirable locations in the New York State correction system. In addition to the Armstrong report, you have the Siracusa book on Reyes stating this. The panel suggested that their investigation revealed evidence that Reyes came forward as a result of threats delivered through the underground prison communication system, and/or he acted in order to get a desired change in prison assignment. So that prison assignment thing comes up again here. It goes on to say, this was a more plausible conclusion. Reyes had no conscience as evidenced by the rape and murder of Lourdes Gonzalez, which is another woman that he raped and murdered. Wise had allegedly become a member of the Bloods. I don't have information on his membership into the Bloods gang. or membership into some Muslim gang, but it has been mentioned that he was high ranking in some sort of gang or group within the prison system. It said a violent gang both in prison and on the street. It was more likely that Reyes and Wise recognized one another, and Reyes had come forward to curry favor with the prison authorities to get a transfer before the Bloods had a chance to seek retribution. It also says, how did Reyes know that Wise was one of the Central Park Five or recognize him? All he had to do was keep his mouth shut, and he would assumedly have nothing to fear from Corey Wise and the Bloods. So let's do a bit of a recap here. You had about 40 or so teenage males who run into a park, Central Park, and cause all types of problems. They attack and harass people in the park, beat multiple people up, and then you have a rape. Now, coincidentally, the rape and all these other attacks happened at the same time. They all seem to have happened with similar weapons. So whereas we know that the weapons that were used to beat up the first three joggers and the bum were a pipe. So a blunt object was used. We also know that Yusuf Salam had a knife, and Steve Lopez was said to have used a knife to cut the leg of Patricia Miley. So they get arrested. There's loads of physical evidence to put them in that location, whereas they have hair, there's blood on them, there's semen found on them. All this stuff is found on their person. The jury of 6, which, by the way, I didn't mention, jury was a very mixed jury. I think there were 4 white jurors, 4 black jurors, and a couple of others. So they had a mixed jury, was convinced that they were guilty of these crimes. So what happens next? They do their sentences. They're convicted and they do their full sentence. Okay, so that's another thing I want to say, that I don't think that these kids should go back to prison. That's not what I'm saying. I think they've done their time. They've been through the system. They don't need more time or anything like that. However, I think it's not a good idea to celebrate them as some types of heroes or victims of some racist criminal justice system when that doesn't seem to be the case. So that's what we have up to this point. And then you have Matias Reyes coming out and saying that he did this all by himself. So we're looking at motives. Matias Reyes, in my mind and in the mind of many other people, he's been referred to as a psychopath. So the mind of a psychopath is such that it likes attention. So another possible motive for all of this is that now Reyes is somewhat of a hero. He's been elevated to hero status. You see his picture all over the internet. He's been interviewed by ABC News and other news organizations. So his face is known. He's out there. He has gotten some amount of notoriety. As you see this same kind of thing coming from mass shooters or serial killers. They want some sort of notoriety, and the media is more than willing to give it to them. So you get more of them. You know, when you give these people what they want, you're going to get copycats. But Matias Reyes certainly seems to be enjoying his time in the spotlight, as do the Central Park Five. But one thing that I haven't mentioned is the politics behind this all. There is a good amount of politics behind this whole entire story, which starts off with Bill de Blasio. Bill de Blasio campaigned on the idea that he would settle this civil court case that the Central Park Five had against the criminal justice system in New York City. So Bill de Blasio campaigned on the idea that he was going to bring more justice by giving the Central Park Five a payout that he thought they deserved. He campaigned on this to get more black votes. This is obviously what his agenda was. And he went to Al Sharpton about this. Now, Al Sharpton, if you didn't know, was involved in the case. He was involved in the Central Park Five case. He was there for a lot of this. His lawyers represented at least one of the Central Park group It wasn't one of the five. It was, I believe it was Michael Briscoe. But Bill de Blasio made plenty of promises, and one was to reward the Central Park Five.
There are those who think that what I said during the campaign was just rhetoric, just political talk in the interest of getting elected.
This year, a new mayor took over and quickly paid up. The five will receive a total of $41 million.
Central Park 5 got to get paid.
And it seems they have gotten paid, with help from Sarah Burns and Ken Burns, who created the Central Park 5 documentary. They did so stating that their intent was to get them paid. In an interview with Variety magazine, Burns said that he wanted to get the Central Park 5 film a theatrical release to bring pressure on the city to settle the suit. We're filmmakers first and foremost, and we want to make a difference. So having a theatrical release will, I think, amplify the pressure on the city to settle so they can put their lives back together. Curiously, Sarah Burns worked for the law firm that represented the Central Park Five's case and who was planning on getting them a big settlement from New York City. Perhaps it's not a wonder that the Central Park 5 documentary was so one-sided and didn't present any of the facts as stated by the police officers, the district attorney, or the Armstrong report. Instead, the film made it seem as though that the boys were only convicted based upon their testimonies on the videos, which is just not true, as I've presented in this video. As we now know, the police didn't even know about most of the victims that the five mentioned in their testimonies at the time. They didn't know how bad these people had been beaten. They didn't know a lot of this stuff, but these guys gave it up. Everything in this video should show you that they are not innocent. Definitely not innocent of beating up the other joggers and the bum. Meanwhile, if you hear them tell it, let me just play you what they say from their own words.
With young men that were hanging out.
Okay.
And some of us, we were young, 14, we were followers. You hang out with older guys, they say, come on, you come along. That was it. We can't say that. We can't talk about everybody's actions that night.
Okay.
But our actions were, we weren't there to commit any crime. We were just being followers because we were the youngest.
We knew that we didn't have any involvement in this. We knew we didn't even have any involvement in any of the other crimes that happened in the park. But yet, as Antron said, we were all being blamed for this whole thing.
The cashews on this guy to say something like this. I mean, up until I think it was 2002, Raymond Santana was saying that he had done everything else except for the rape. And I think Yusef Salaam said the same thing in testimony. You can find paperwork on this. And now they're saying they didn't have anything to do with anything that night. It's utterly ridiculous. And yet so many Americans are allowing them to go on and tell these stories unchallenged without asking them any questions about these facts. Which brings me to my conclusion. The Central Park Five have to be the most celebrated snitches in Black history. They basically have embraced victimhood and done so to the tune of $42 million. Victimhood indeed does pay. We all know this. We're all well aware that playing the victim does have its rewards in the end. But at what expense? What are we doing to the country when we have lies? So many people I know, including friends and family, believe that America is such a racist place. And this case is similar to that of the Tawana Brawley case. It's similar to that of the Jussie Smollett case. The facts don't really matter to people. What does matter to them is a narrative and preserving that narrative at any cost. And now you see why this is such a complicated case. It's far from being as cut and dry as the media is presenting it. It's far from being as cut and dry as the Netflix series presented it. And it's far from being as cut and dry as a documentary presented it.
While these young men may not have penetrated the Central Park jogger, there has not been evidence to prove that they were not there. These men, as I have read it, were not exonerated. Their case was vacated, yes, but the two things are very different. My name is Chi Brown. I appreciate you all watching this. Like, subscribe, comment. I know the comments on this are bound to be lively. I appreciate you all, and I'm out.
Dwayne, appreciate you putting that up there. Yeah, that's a lot of things. That's a lot of things make sense. If y'all look, when they were showing you the blood evidence, you look, I mean, you kind of have to watch it quick. It'll tell you a lot of things were not conclusive. I think that played a major part with it not being conclusive. When you deal with a jury, what people don't know, when you deal with a convicted person on a crime, it has to be without a reason of a doubt. And when you're showing evidence, they're saying not conclusive, although the jury did convict them. I'm sure they was able to get a lot of things pulled back. The fact that it's still stated not conclusive. They hung themselves. In one of the documents he was speaking on, he was showing, I don't know if y'all read it, at the top, it spoke about a guy, Ortigas. They were actually told not to interview with the correct. They were told not to interview, and that with the FBI or the CIA, and it was from the Attorney General of New York. They would not let them testify. It was two people. They were both Hispanics. They said they was told by the Attorney General not to interview with the department or with the police or the FBI or the CIA. So all these were involved too. I didn't know the CIA and all them was involved in this. I'm sure that guy came forward. Him coming forward, saying he was the sole raper by himself made no sense, and not to have any evidence. But one thing about how life works, that's why it's coming back around.
Yep.
It's gonna, and it needs to come back around. Like he said, they did their time. I think that the more time that to be given, the money you taken from the city, Donald Trump, and it seems that you were correct. So I apologize, and I don't have to tell him to their face, maybe never see him, but that's for me. Because I mean, based off of what I saw from the first documentary and what they said, was still they were out there. We knew they were there, but they made it as though they was just out, a bunch of kids having fun, and they actually weren't. And they turned into a rape. I was a young man. I mean, we went out, we beat people up. We ain't never gonna rape nobody. Yeah, we did some damage to some people. So I understand where they were at. I grew up during that time period. They're a little younger than me, I think. But I was out there and we did the same thing, beat people up. It was a mess. But never rape. Never rape. It's bad that these guys are trying to push themselves out. They're sure they hadn't come to grips with reality. They're telling the truth. The young man showing him, you hear that statement, they weren't coerced. He told us she scratched me, in my face right here. The pants, he said penis did touch. He said stayed in the pants, but the penis touched her. She talked with him long enough to come back and say it did do it, but didn't claim it was still his pants. These guys are just bad-minded young people, really bad-minded, and because they never actually admitted their crimes to feel as though they got away with them, to push that they're innocent doesn't show them the maturity. They're still a danger. That's what I look at, because you never actually came to grips with it. The fact that you can go out and say, we never participated, that's not what you said in the videos. So it's like, hold on for a minute, didn't you hear what you said? So now they're going to push this narrative because it got money, and then this hurts people of color that are innocent who are wrongly convicted. When you get these guys, they're going to push this documentary. They're going to push it because it's at the hands of a black man saying, not a white man. It's in your own exposure. It doesn't matter what color, but it's unfortunate they'll use this to justify how many blacks are not innocent. For me, I did know a lot of things did say inconclusive. He didn't state that either, because his end was showing they were guilty. There were things that if you look, did you read that Love Doctor? It definitely said it said it was inconclusive. And he did state earlier that, DNA technology was about 2 years old at the time, but it was inconclusive. But you just have to mention that. But their testimony alone, to me, you hung yourself.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate those y'all that hung in here with us to watch it as well. Definitely appreciate y'all, your time. We know we've been in here a long time tonight. We do a hardball, you guys. The federal, he said he was just gonna stick his head in. He stayed in for the whole documentary. We appreciate you and your wife. Definitely always in my Palau. I do that, you know, Layla Palau, Morning Palau, then Chicago a lot. They know me, I Palau, you know. I send them out because I'm a praying man. But I definitely I encourage our people and people in general, do the right thing. We all got a pass. Do the right thing. Be clear for yourself.
Come on.
That's all I tell about. Please do the right thing. Appreciate all of y'all. Appreciate Faith P, everybody on there. Staying with us. I know someone probably fell out. They said, I got to go. These jokers been here all night. Love Dollar, we kept here. This is as long as you've been out the
Yeah, man,
Hey, look at him. Okay.
Yeah. We getting better. Well, I mean, you gonna have to stay up because Stasha said she looking to crack that back. So you don't need to be up. You gotta make a turn. Well, she already. Well, you don't have to make one. You all want, so don't worry about that. No, we appreciate you, Andrew, everybody watching. We appreciate everybody. Appreciate Boston. Appreciate our man spending a wonderful daughter winning with that win and
Yeah.
Man, Joe, appreciate
Hey,
everybody.
with the photo, got to mention that.
Yeah, she did great. She know we're proud of her. Great job. We appreciate everybody. Y'all know next week we'll be back here. We'll look do the same thing, and that's what we look to do. Bring truth out. Because I mean that change. That I mean that's bad, man. You know that this happened out. If you could send me the link personally, I want to put it on my Twitter. Put it on my. I know some asked on here. Some want to go back and show. It needs to get out. People to get. Just put let people examine for themselves. I want to post it on my. Appreciate you too, say. I want to post it on my Twitter, post it on my Instagram, post it. You know, I want people to see it. Let people see for themselves, then you be the judge. It's not that long of it's really not that long of a documentary where a person can watch it. So if you'll be kind enough to text that to the group chat,
Yes, sir,
I'll
will
send
do.
out those that follow me on Twitter. Someone asked you to post it on here if you will. We'll try to post it on our page or put it in the chat. Appreciate y'all guys. We're going to get ready to try to shut it down because I got to try to get a little rest tonight. I'll get a couple of hours. Yeah, I got to be ready tomorrow night. For some reason, they want to put me to work. I don't know why. They want me to work. I'm going to do it. I ain't going to worry about it. I'm going to do it. I love my job. So ain't no thing about it. I always say that when I come, you know, I say I come out. So you know what? I am not going to be up here alone. I do every time. Y'all know I do. I said, listen. I'm going to him. Listen, I said, I'm going to go ahead and get this done. I'm going to get out. I look around in my clock. I say, Shabbat day, I'm telling you, every time I say, listen, I'm going to him. I said, listen, it never fails. I get stuck for whatever reason. I'm there. I said, you know what? I'm going to him. I said, I'm just going to work, and that's it. And I look around. I said, I be like, oh my goodness, it's 4 o'clock. How did I do this? I get there and I said, this is it. I got out of here 7 o'clock. I look around, it's 8:30, almost 9. I said, what happened? So just know it's never intentional. But you know what I think? If I write up a script, I can get out. Because I mean, you got to stay with your script. I would do that. I'm trying to write up a script. I'm just coming. I'm saying, just stick with like it. Just stick and look at it. Say, listen, that's it. So I can't do it.
It'll never happen.
It'll never happen. Oh man, there go my hope. There go my future. I had a little hope, so I said maybe I could do this. But again, we appreciate y'all. He said he was against Christianity a long time ago, whoever that was. So listen, we appreciate all y'all. Confederate keep hanging it down. We'll look to see. I appreciate you again, little doctor, for bringing that to the table for us. All our wonderful listener followers, guys. We will look to see you all next week.
See y'all.
We're about to take it back. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Tony and Lee on the radio. Dr. Joe's therapy on the radio. The love got me going live on the radio. 2 mics and a mind on the radio. Radio, turned up 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 on the radio. 2 mics and a mind. 2 mics and a mind. 2 mics and a mind. 2 mics and a mind.
All right, you do something better, I'll do something better, and we'll be better together. Until next week.
Y'all. Let's see y'all.